The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Go Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode, I believe, number 234. Today's date is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. If you're out there in the live chat, we don't know that you're out there unless you say something. So let us see that you're out there. Leave a comment out there to chat. Let us know where you are, what's going on. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, then by all means, let us know this is your first time. We'll try to pop your cherry. We cannot promise you to make you any smarter. Hell, we just hope not to make you any dumber. If you're out there and you want to call or text into the show, yes, you can call and text in. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates over at Aegis Gun Care. That phone number is 530-364-4678. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole and you're in the darkness and you're looking for that light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you any medical advice, but I sure as hell could be a pretty decent ear to listen to. If you are looking for someone that can get you some medical attention and help you, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are willing and able to help. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So I implore you to utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline. 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. As always, we are spotlighting the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, visit the website marines.com. And as always, we're a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. So go check out all the great podcasts over on selfdefenseradio.net. Let's get it off of my ugly mug. And we've got some links out to some different people that were busy last week as well. But right now we've got our shotgun rider, our quasi co-host of this fiasco from the great state of Texas, the tactical virus. Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
I'm going woke. I think I'm going to boycott this show.
It would be much better show. So,
it's the Armed Citizen Podcast. And I just feel that, I don't agree with amputation of people's arms. I think all citizens should have arms. I don't. It's big pharma or big medical or something. You must be in the pocket of them. Is all I got to say.
So, are you saying that this podcast is only for people with their arms, not for the non-armed citizens?
Well, that's what the title says. I'm just saying.
That's fair. That's fair. Speaking of shotguns, we always do a weekly thing. So I want to ask Clover. I know he shot some last week. What's your shotgun of the week this week?
Not one that I shot last week.
Okay.
I'll save those for later. And I only shot a couple because, thank God, the amount
you almost didn't shoot anyone.
Right? That's what I was fixing to say. I'm a little bit mad at all the people that I met at the gathering. Of course, I talk with them. We'll get into this a little later on. But anyway, we'll get into it later on. Screw it. So, but we did see our buddies with Taurus and Heritage and Rossi. And so on that note, because I've been looking at some Rossi stuff, and Rossi has a little, series, I guess, or whatever of shotguns. I got them in different gauges, some little single shots that are like snake charmers. They call them the Tuffy.
Okay.
And they hold shotgun shells in the stock, and they're pretty cool little single shot shotguns. I think I own one before Rossi's while they were under Taurus. I think the one I've got is made by Taurus, but they're pretty neat little for little
So
truck guns or something
was
like
it a
that.
Taurus brand back then, or was it still Rossi? It was still a Taurus brand shotgun,
I think it was built by Rossi, but probably branded Taurus. They
branded.
did a lot of that. Yeah, they did a lot of that weird stuff back in the day. So
I gotcha.
that'd be a question for Cody or maybe um, uh,
Jacob.
Jake with State Farm. Yeah, one of
Yeah,
these
Jake
days.
was State Farm. Oh, I didn't even think about that. We got to start doing that. If he had any sense, which he does, he has a great sense of humor.
Hmm.
But for shot show, I'd show up with khakis and a red, Taurus shirt on, and rock the booth with Jake from State Farm. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
I think Taurus is pretty because
Yeah,
they all wear like suit and tie type stuff.
yeah, they're pretty
Yeah, I think
pretty
so.
high
Yeah,
class, highfalutin.
unfortunately.
Marcus out there says, "Good evening, hello, Marcus. How are you?" Tactical Fuds out there. What's up, Buck? We got Rod and Shelly out there with Aegis Gun Care. What's going on, homies? Ozzy says, "Boo," and I replied, "Bark." The 1% is out there. He says, "Howdy, folks." I think he's stealing Ellis's line, but it is what it is. We'll let him have it this time. I do want to mention this. Defense Dad out there says, "Yo, everybody, we do not discriminate against the single yo." Now, Gear Report, they require the 3 yo entrance. We do not, unlike some people, do not discriminate against the single or the double yo. So do not feel like you're pressured to use the 3 yo entrance. We will take the single yo. Just saying. Anyways, before we get going, I do want to take a minute real quick and talk about something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. And Clover got a chance to meet them as well last week. Two of our good friends, Marcus, I saw Marcus down there. Two of our good friends, Danny and Josh, are 2 MARSOC Marines. They're part of what are called the MARSOC 3, who were um, I mean, it's bad, guys. Just Google MARSOC 3, but it's pretty bad. They were falsely accused and falsely charged with the death of a contractor in New Year's of 2019. They've been on trial. They've been in lingo for 3 years now. There is no evidence whatsoever aside from what could be considered self-defense, but their lives have been destroyed. Their families, their friends are going through hell through this. So what I'm asking you to do is I'm going to put a link out here in the chat. And if you're able to, any dollar amount helps. You don't have to spend a lot of money. I'm asking you to join me in supporting the MARSOC 3 with their legal defenses. There is a fundraiser going on. You can follow that link right there to help out if you're able and willing to. You don't have to, but if the word Semper Fidelis means anything to any of you out there, then please at least go check out this website and help if you can, or at least share this with someone that might be able and willing to help. They're fantastic human beings that are basically in the wrong place at the wrong time, being forced in a situation they didn't even want to be in. They had to defend themselves, and it is what it is. Got a chance to talk with them extensively last week about all of it and got all of the information that either the media is leaving out or whatever. You hear it straight from their mouths, and really awesome human beings. They're warriors for sure. But like I said, if you're out there and the word Semper Fidelis mean anything to you, maybe at least go check out that website. And if you're able to donate, great. And, let them know that you heard it from Ghosts and all of that. So, yeah, share it. If nothing else, please share it on social media, that maybe someone who sees it will be able to help. It's going to take a lot of money for their legal defense. So that's what we're asking people to help out. Anyways, yeah, we had a chance to talk with Danny and Josh a lot. We stayed in our house last week with us in South Carolina. Just great guys. Just absolutely been through hell and back. So Mr. FNH got the message. The single yo is okay. So well done, sir. Well done. So yeah, before we get going, you guys always know that we have on every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday at 10 a.m. we have our Ghost Tactical Polls over on our community tab on YouTube. We have some fun with them. More importantly, we just ask some crazy questions. Sometimes it's what it is, but we asked a few questions, and we're gonna go ahead and ask them out there right now. Clove, you can give me your answers as well. But the first one has 1.4 thousand votes. It says, would you rather have only a phone or only a computer? What do you say?
It would have to be a phone.
Yeah, phones these days are
I would
basically,
hate it. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong. I would hate it.
I
But
understand.
yep.
I understand. Yeah, and that's obviously leading with 78%. And like I said, with the smartphones these days, they're basically computers. Now, would it make, as much as you love editing, it would make it just a little bit harder for you to edit
Oh, a
videos.
little bit? Holy crap.
So yeah. Let's see here. The next one is, would you rather be? Now, these were from a week or two ago. We didn't do them last week. That's why I kept them, because we didn't go over them last week when we were in the hotel room. So if you've already answered them, cool. Would you rather be police, a fireman, in the military, or a government official? Chloe, what do you say? I know you already answered this on the actual
I
poll,
did.
but I want to go through what you said, because it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would almost have to be a government official. I mean, I don't think I'm tough enough for the fireman military thing. Those dudes are pretty
Yeah.
rugged. And I can't handle much respect for law enforcement and also prison guards and correctional officers. I guess is the PC term, but
Law enforcement.
people that have to babysit grown people. It's like I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably choke someone out pretty
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
That's just, I don't have the temperament for it. And God bless the ones that do. That's just ain't me. Marcus says he liked to be a fireman. I almost put astronaut because, I mean, let's be honest. When we were all 4 or 5 years, at least our generation, I can't speak for today's generation because most of them haven't ever seen a space shuttle, probably, But when we were growing up, you ask most kids at 3, 4, 5 years old, I would say the majority of goes, I want to be an astronaut, because space travel was still a big deal back then. I don't know what it is anymore.
All you got to do now is call Elon, right?
This is true.
Or Bezos, either one
Bezos.
for
If
that
you
matter.
see his rocket, man, his
Yeah.
rocket's an interesting looking rocket.
You know the the fireman thing brings something into mind. I mean, if
Yeah.
that's something you want to try to do, I was, I don't know, 2 decades or longer. I was a volunteer fireman.
Mhm.
Was actually worked up to assistant chief and was chief for a short period of time. Um, so if you're into that sort of thing,
Yeah.
you don't have to do that. You don't get paid, obviously, but that can get you out in the community and helping and doing a lot of different things. But just be prepared
Yeah.
because working motor vehicle accidents and and
Yeah.
house fires, especially when it comes to kids. I mean,
Kids.
you're
Yeah.
around some really rough stuff. So
Yeah.
just be prepared. That's another aspect of, I guess, all of those jobs except for politician, right? That
Yeah. You're gonna have
firemen,
to deal with
police,
some of that
and
stuff.
military is going to be around some very very hard stuff that they have to deal with. And
Absolutely.
yeah, politicians, you just got to put up with a bunch of bull. That's be about it.
Now, Rod says LEO, but he's a little biased.
A little
He
bit.
was in India for a long time. Uh, Ozzy says, Ghost, you know anything about Hero Company? They make paracord bracelets to pay for companion dogs for veterans. Yeah, there's several of them out there. You've got Spike's Canine. You've got Hero. You've got Mike Ritland's got one. There are a bunch of them that are going for canines, and it's in the veteran community for service dogs. Some of them, not all of them, some of them are actually taking it a step further, and they take retired military or police work dogs that are still, viable dogs, but they're just past their prime to do what they need to do, whether it's working dogs in the military or LEO, and they take them and place them with veterans that to be a service dog as well. But a lot of them are what you know of. They're labs. They're all these different dogs that are raised as puppies that are trained as an early age to be service dogs for not just veterans. I think veterans probably make up a large part of it, but anyone that's struggling with depression, PTSD, and all of that. But obviously, a lot of them are military. But yes, Heroes one, like I said, Spike's Canine is another one. Mike Ritland, I can't remember exactly what his is, but Mike Ritland, who's a former SEAL, he's got one that does it. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. But yeah, I think it's a phenomenal thing. We both know Charlie, and when Charlie lost his service dog not too long ago, he's got a new one now. But yeah, service dogs can really, I mean, they for some people it is something that keeps them going every day. Um, so yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, we've met a
Um,
lot. We've met a lot at shows and things. I mean, I think about
oh
Karma.
yeah,
Karma's
karma, karma. Man, I
amazing,
just saw karma.
amazing.
Karma still got posts rolling out and left and right on Instagram. I did.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I
yeah,
followed Karma on Instagram.
right. Yeah.
Karma's a cool ass dog, man. And
Mhm.
he's one of the few handlers. The guy that handles them is one of the few handlers that allows you to pet and play. Most service dogs, you're not allowed to really play with them and touch them because they're trained to do certain things.
Right.
But he was all, man, have fun, roll around with them. And that dog, Karma, was an awesome dog.
Yeah.
And who was he with at that time? Was it Proper, or who was
True
it that he
spec.
was?
True
True
spec.
Spec.
She's the true
True
spec
Spec.
dog. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, there are a lot of great ones out there. So if you're interested in supporting some of that, then absolutely there's some great ones. Defense Dad says, do you know if Riker Grip has a left hand option? Their website doesn't list hand orientation. It goes either way. And I promise you it works for lefties because Ron, who invented it, is a lefty. So yes, it will work left handed. So he would not design anything that he couldn't use himself. So yeah, Ron being a lefty, I know for a fact that it runs for lefties. So yes, absolutely. What were we talking about? We were talking about service. Oh, Ozzy's service dog. Yeah. So as of right now, with 1.6 thousand votes, military's at 52%, a government official is at 19%, firemen 16%, and police 12%. So thank you all that voted in that. And the last one, now I'm going to get it. I understand that I can only put 5 choices. So I left the all consuming other, leave a comment. And I got 106 comments. So, but this next question is, of the following, what is the best AR-15? I put the Daniel Defense DD-M4, which is their M4, the Smith & Wesson M&P Sport, the HK416, and the Aero Precision M4, and obviously other, leave a comment. Of those 4, Clove, do you have one that you prefer over the others?
What's
I'm
an
assuming,
AR? What's an AR-15? What?
okay, that's fair. I'm
What is
assuming
that?
you're not going to
What?
pick Smith & Wesson.
What? I don't understand that. I don't. What?
Yeah, are
What
you
is that?
getting rashes right now?
Is
Yeah.
that a jet or something? What are we talking about?
Mhm. Absolutely, it is.
Okay.
It's a FUD helicopter.
Oh, that's one of them assault rifle 15s, ain't it?
Yeah,
That they talk about all the time.
that's what
I've heard about
the-
those. I've heard about
yeah,
those on the news before.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't
The
know why
weapons.
anybody. I don't know why anyone want that. Yeah, weapon of war. Yeah, it's scary,
Yeah,
man. I don't know why anybody want that.
scary
Just buy a
black rifle.
shotgun. Just buy a shotgun.
Yeah, man, I tell
Just
you.
buy a shotgun.
Yeah. Would you go with an AR shotgun if you had to? Would that something you'd rock?
Honestly, I'd rather rock a. I'd rather rock a Saiga, one of the AK
Yeah,
variants or something.
absolutely.
Honestly,
No, no, I get it.
I've
I get
never.
it.
I've never. That was a joke with the AR, obviously, but um, maybe somebody new out there going, "Who's this FUD?" You're right, but you're not completely right.
Damn it, he
Um,
is King FUD. You better
right,
recognize.
right. But no, I've never fired one of the AR, style, because they're
Mm.
not ARs. Let's be honest, they're not.
No. They look like an AR.
I've never handled one of those that I liked. And
Mm.
on the flip side, though, the AK style or AK style, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yep.
So it's like I don't know. I'd probably prefer that if I was going to go that route. But even then, I mean, that's one of the reasons you see a lot of bullpup is a thing, right, in shotguns.
Mm. Yeah.
And it's like you just get so limited when you get outside of it's like, okay, I can see some of the competition style models, the JM 940s from Mossbergens and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Having pistol grips and 3-gun style shotguns and things like that. You can do some sporting clay stuff and some hunting and some different things with it. But when you get into bullpups and different weird platforms and other things, it's like
Mhm.
they're
Mhm.
cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for cool. They're cool. But it's like the the novelty for me wears off really quick. that makes sense.
Sure. No, I'll get it. Warsaw says he came across a badass trigger for the AK sold by Arsenal. It's the enhanced, what is that, FIME trigger. Um, I'm sure there's some great triggers out there for everything that you could possibly want under the sun.
Now,
Uh,
going back to
I'm
that,
experienced with that, but go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
going back to that poll, what was the
Okay.
choices again?
The actual choices are what's the best of the following, the best AR: the Daniel Defense M4, the Smith & Wesson M&P Sport, HK 416, the Aero Precision M4, or other. Leave a comment.
Best, probably Daniel Defense.
Yeah, it's
how did it line out? What was the votes? Did you say?
So right now, with 1.5 thousand votes, the Daniel Defense comes in first place with 40%. The HK 416 is at 23%, which is a great one. Mm-hmm. The M&P Sport at 15%, the Aero at 8%, and other with 13%.
That might actually be hashtag my poll. I would probably rank them in that order as well if you told me to rank them.
I would. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of, obviously, the M&P 15. That's my battle rifle. And I do that because it is an affordable, rugged,
right.
It's a $500 AR that's modular as hell. You can bang it and not feel guilty about it, right, and all of that. But if you're talking, the only thing that I probably would, honestly, my personal opinion, I probably put the HK 416 above the Daniel Defense, but it's really, really close. It is what it is.
When you say best, and people have a lot of different interpretations, right?
Absolutely.
I think quality in the manufacturing process, right? That's sort of where I'm thinking. And in that, I honestly think Daniel Defense probably spends a little more time with their stuff than HK.
They probably do, and there's no doubt. I think that the quality of it is a little bit better than HK. I just happen to like the feel and the ergonomics of the HK. But yeah, if you're talking just straight up quality of parts and all of that, yeah, probably Daniel Defense of those. Now, Marcus out there says the Mossberg 940 Tactical looks promising. Yep. I like the 590 Tactical. That's just me. Let's see here. Screaming School Saloon says stopping and quick to say hi and hit that like button. I appreciate it. He says Daniel Defense. And he said, I did choose other, though. Cobalt Kinetics is his favorite AR. There you go. Let's see here.
I think I got a press release on the 940 Tactical earlier today. Did I not? That's interesting. I don't know either. I think I did.
Let's see here. Mossberg.
I'm looking. It's like, was that today? Or was that yesterday? Yeah, I can't find it. Maybe I didn't delete it.
If I did, I have it somewhere in my emails. I'll go through some. I might have just kind of swiped left on it.
Yeah, I never looked at it. I didn't even go and look at it. So, because I've played around with that 940 Snow Goose, and it's essentially the exact same shotgun. It's just going to have a shorter barrel, I'm assuming. Be all tactical looking.
Mr. FNH says, I'm about to have Taco John's, one of my favorite places to eat. Sorry about the yo, I guess. No. What I was saying is there are some people, get report, that require a a 3-yo entrance. I do not discriminate against the single yo or the double yo. You can throw as many yos out there as you want, and it's not going to hurt my feelings. Jeff gets butthurt if it's not a 3-yo entrance. Just saying, he's highfalutin over there, Warsaw says Roger makes good quality beginner AR-15s. There's a lot of good ones out there. There's a lot of really good, and I'm not going to say cheap anymore because they're not. You can't really get them for $300 right now. I'd say that $500 mark. There's some really quality $500 to $700 really quality ARs that are going to run, that are not going to have any problems with, and they're not going to break the bank. you're going to look at $15 to $2,000 for some of the upper end. You're going to spend a lot more than that on the Daniel defenses and all that. Black Rains are great ones, for that $2,000 mark. But yeah, there's a lot of great ones out there, under $1,000 still. And yeah, there's some great ones. If you're looking to get an AR, let me know. Maybe I can help you. Let's see here. Warsaw says Ruger makes great. The Ruger 5.56 isn't bad. I'll say that. I think that where Ruger has really, obviously 1022 and the pistols and all of that. But as far as the carbines, where I think that they have really done well in, their ARs aren't bad. I wouldn't put them above Smith and Wesson for sure. I wouldn't put them above Arrow for sure. They're probably over there with maybe the PSAs, and that's not a knock on PSA, but let's just be real. But I'd say what Ruger has done the last couple of years is with their the PC carbines, and then the little 9mm, what they call that thing that was so hot last year. Anyways, yeah, the 9mm, the PCCs, little 9mm carbines they've come out with the last couple of few years, they are really salty. So yeah, Ruger's done a really good job with that.
Waiting on them to up the game and bring back the OG 44 carbine. That's what I want to see.
That's something that would be interesting, because I think that would probably do really well in today's market. Really well, actually. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Let's see here. I can't believe you went to the gathering and omitted PSA.
Oops.
Oops.
They got plenty of promotion through the gathering. They'll be okay, I think.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some stuff from PSA. I got one thing at least to talk about from PSA if we get to
what
it.
You got? Oh, we can start now if you'd like.
Oh, I don't. Well, yeah, we're whatever.
Okay, we'll wait. Then. Yeah. I'm going through the comments real quick. Screaming Skull says all of my ARs are built using Daniel Defense. Spikes is another good one. Faxon's got some amazing barrels, BCGs, and all that. Lantac, Geisley triggers, obviously. Rise Armament's good. Fab Defense is good. Precision Armament parts. Yeah, I mean, all of those. If you're building with all of those, then you're gonna have one hell of a rifle. Now, that being said, I was more talking about the pre-assembled, out of the box, ready to shoot, not build your own. But yeah, all of those companies that you're listing right there, bro, if you're using those to build your rifles, you are not going to have an issue one. So yeah, those are all good. Born to be a shooter, Josh says if you're going to mention Smith & Wesson and best AR, at least put up the OG mil-spec M&P 15. So that's the original Sport there. That's not the Sport 2. That's the original Sport. And I know that it's not the old mil-spec MP15, but yeah, I mean, you're talking about, I tell you, if you want to talk old mil-spec, it's hard to go against. I should have brought this up. It's hard to go against the old Colt. I mean, that Colt's been around forever. That Colt is what it was came off of. Basically, the M16 was the Colt that I shot. So that Colt is, and it's still around, and it's still a very, very, very viable option out there. So absolutely.
Well, we're overlooking Armalite.
Armalite, sure, yeah.
And we're also looking over OG anyway, Bushmasters.
Bushmaster, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Who bought Bushmaster through the Remington sale? Do you remember? I don't remember who actually bought it, but I know that they're coming out with some different Bushmaster stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see whoever it was. And was it PSA that got it?
No, Franklin Armory.
Franklin got Bushmaster.
Bushmaster,
okay. Yeah. Okay. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Bushmaster going forward, because unfortunately, prior to the sell-off of Remington, there was a time that Bushmaster did not have, I'm not saying that it was warranted, but it didn't have the greatest reputation in the last few years. I remember, well, gosh, was it 3 or 4 years ago, you could get a Bushmaster for under $300, some places. And so I'm hoping that whoever, but you're right. The Bushmaster has a long history.
That's why I said OG.
I just hope they do something with it to kind of bring it back to a little bit of prominence. I think that the AR world is better with Bushmaster is good. Does that make sense?
And one of the coolest logos to me. I love the
The
Bushmaster logo.
Charger, the PC Charger. I'm sorry. Thanks, Buck. The Ruger. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just talking about the logos. I said I've always liked the Bushmaster logo for
Oh
some
yeah.
reason.
Yeah. Warsaw says, speaking of ARs, who makes a good quality AR with a 20-inch barrel and is a clone of the M16A4? Well, I mean, a lot of them are going to do 16-inch, maybe even 18-inch. I think that the lifespan of a 20-inch AR stock, there's not a whole lot out there. I shot a 20-inch. The Colt was a 20-inch. The M16, I should say, was a 20-inch. The Colt. So, but yeah, there's out there, and you can always get different barrels, links, and all that. I think what they've assumed though is with the 223 cartridge, that sweet spot is kind of like that 16 to 18 inch, to really maximize. The 20-inch barrel doesn't give you enough, honestly, enough additional length and coverage to warrant the extra 2 inches to make it a little bit longer, a little bit heavier, and all of that. I think the sweet spot for that 223 cartridge in an AR platform is that 16 to 18 inch. That's just me. Not saying that 20 inch is bad, but understand that the 5.56 that the military uses in the M16, at least when I was in the 20-inch M16, that was a different cartridge than the 223 that you're going to shoot through your normal ARs. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I've got one with a 24-inch barrel, so it
Oh,
totally
nice.
depends. You're right. It totally depends on the ammunition you're shooting. That's for
Yeah.
really heavy stuff at 24-inch,
Yeah.
and it's more bench rest than anything. Um, but when you're talking about the retro style stuff, both PSA and Brownells do
Mhm.
quite a bit in that retro
Yep.
market. If you're talking budget pricing,
Yeah.
and
Sure.
if you want to go all out, just go get a Colt.
Absolutely. And I am one that, I guess for sentimental reasons, I like the carry handle. If you're gonna run irons, because that's what I learned to shoot with, was the old Colt with the carry handle with
Yeah.
iron sights. Now, if you're gonna run an optic, I am not a fan of having to put an optic on top of the carry handle, because I think that just screws a lot of things up that doesn't need to be screwed with. So if you like running iron sights, if you like
So
the old style Colt, yeah, carry handle would be cool. But I would, if you're gonna run an optic, my advice is don't get a carry handle if you plan on running an optic. That's just
so
my personal opinion.
I've got a retro build that does have a dang, I can't remember is it Leatherwood? I can't remember or Hilux maybe. I can't remember the name of it now. Retro optic. It's original from like the 80s.
Oh
There's
wow,
a reason there's a hole in the carry handle, and that reason is to be able to mount optics. So I mean, it was
I know.
designed to be able to do that. Um, Now my question though is, when you were in, did you
Mhm.
ever? Because obviously having optics on the carry handle has been a thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I
did you
personally
ever
just don't
see
like
it?
them.
Did you ever see it in the military?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
just didn't like them.
Okay.
I just
I
I
was
you know
just wondering if it was a common enough thing you've seen it, or it's like,
mhm.
nah, there was some, special teams maybe that ran them or whatever.
No, I mean, a lot of them, back in the day, you could take the carry handle off, if you wanted to, but understand also, at one point, um, that was the only way to run an optic. I just didn't like it. But you have to understand, those old Colts back in the day, they didn't have Picatinny rails. You know, they had the rounded, molded, hand guards where it didn't have rails. There wasn't a rail necessarily on the top of the upper. So there for a while, because we're talking, these things were, are older, and those were given to the military well
So,
before they started putting red dots on things.
do you know why the carry handle exists? It's a very interesting story.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever heard as
So,
actually. I mean, obviously it's a carry handle, but I honestly I don't
obviously,
remember.
yeah, okay. Well, here's the thing: it's not though.
Well,
It's
there you
not.
go.
The carry handle is actually a cover or a shroud, because the old school ARs, the charging
Mhm.
handle was on the top.
Oh yeah, okay, interesting.
And so that covered, you know what I'm saying? That was like a trigger guard. It covered that charging handle. And then people started carrying them by that, obviously. And then it became the carry handle and it carried over even when they changed the design and moved the charging handle to the rear. But yeah, it's everybody calls it a charging handle. And it's like, that wasn't why it was there.
The carry, yeah, that is interesting. I had never heard that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I learned something new. Um, Defense Dad says his stepdad's Wyndham weaponry AR is really nice. I
Hmm.
never owned one. I don't even know if I have shot a Wyndham. I don't know that I have. Does that make sense?
Right.
I'm not saying that I haven't, but I wasn't aware of it. But so I've never. I don't know if I remember anything about a Wyndham. You ever shot a Wyndham?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah.
nice.
I haven't shot one in the
You
last
can get those for a
quite
pretty
a
decent price too.
I
So
haven't shot one in the last quite a few years, and
yeah,
so the ones I've shot were decent. And then, in the last few years, I've heard some trash talk about Wyndham. So I don't know if they changed hands or the company changed or,
very well
or
could have.
what happened. But didn't Wyndham wasn't Wyndham some guys from Bushmaster or something that broke off? I think that's the story with Wyndham. I could be wrong, but it seems like there was a bigger AR company and some guys broke off and started Wyndham. But
Could
I
be.
can't be certain on that.
Could be. Josh says he has both the old Smith and the really old Bushmaster. He likes the Smith more. It's nicer and was his very first AR he bought right after he turned 18. She's a safe gun now. There you go. Whether it's a Smith, whether it's a Bushmaster, whether it's the Colt, was it Armalite, a lot of those old OG, as you could say, OG ARs, they were built right. And so they're all probably pretty good. They probably would still run today. So many companies, and this is just, and it's not just in ARs, it's across the board in every facet of the market are using lighter weight materials, obviously, but I'm not going to say cheap, but let's say less expensive materials because they want to bring the cost down. Whether or not they're bringing the retail price down, they're either trying to bring the retail price down or maximize profits, but they're not built the way they used to be.
Yeah, there
Now,
is a difference.
the polymer lower was one of those things that it's a big thing, but back in the day, there was no such thing as a polymer lower.
Right. Well,
Go ahead.
a few things on that. First of all, I have what is it? New Frontier Armory.
Mhm.
I think was one of the first. The Plum Crazy lowers were some of the first polys to ever hit the market. I actually
Yeah,
own a couple of rifles with at least two with the Gen 2 anyway, poly lowers from New Frontier Armory, and believe it or not, they've held up. Now they are pretty much
yeah,
range toys, right? They don't get beat
sure,
around, anything like
sure,
that. One of them is actually a hunting rifle, but again, it doesn't get beat around. It gets put in the truck, it gets carried up in the deer stand or whatever.
right.
Um, so they're babied a little bit. Now it's interesting what I was going to say, and then you mentioned the poly, which brought me into New Frontier Armory, which illustrates
Mhm.
my point is not all metals are the same. And people think just because
True.
it's steel, or just because it's aluminum. And I can vouch for this. I've got a New Frontier Armory lower that is aluminum. They did build it.
Okay,
Maybe they still do. I don't even know if they're still around. But they
okay.
not only made polymer, but they eventually made aluminum. And I can guarantee you, just from assembling that lower and missing with a punch a few times and stuff, um, we all have done it if we built very many ARs, and it's inferior aluminum without a doubt on that thing.
Yeah, sure. Um, Screaming Skull Saloon says the A team had optics on top of the carry handle, except when they were using the Mini 14. Warsaw says even the Army during the time of Black Hawk Down, they didn't even have any Picatinny rails on their rifles. Yeah, that's when I was in. So yeah, I can verify that for sure. Let's see here. Artac says, "Hi, folks. Howdy, Artac and daughters." Rich White, he says, "The charging handle used to look like an upside down trigger on top of the upper receiver." Yep. It was like a little curved kind of half moon thing. Kind of what you see now, and some of them on the side chargers still use that design somewhat. Um, but it's more of a side charging handle. I've seen them on some of those. Guns and Barbecue says 14th thumb. Well, let's get those thumbs up, guys. I mean, I'm not that guy, but hell, there's 20 something people watching. I should have at least 20 something thumbs. So thumb me. That came out wrong, didn't it? Let's see here. Warsaw says the first AR-15 he shot was a Remington ACR in 5.56 back in 2014. Bucks out there, thank you very much. He said, let's help out the MARSOC 3. Absolutely. Let's see here. He just says, we had EOTechs on carry handles years ago. That would be really interesting. I can't imagine running an EOTech on top of that thing. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. Would not want to. I like I said, me personally, I wouldn't. But I guess if that's what you could do back then you did what you did. Georgia Rebels out there. What's going on? What up, Georgia Rebel? Hadn't seen you in a while. Marcus says, I built an M16 clone for my dad for Father's Day last year with the charging handle and the carry handle. It is not easy to find, just like he had in Vietnam. So that would that been in a 16 or would that have been a 14? It could have been either one, I guess. The 16, the A1 was out there. I'd say what I'd like to have eventually. I would love to have like, yeah, his dad, I guess, carried one in Vietnam, and he says an M16 clone. Back then, you could have gotten an M16A1 or an M14. I'd say I would probably love to have an M14 clone one day. That would be kind of cool, you know.
Yeah.
Those are
that
pretty,
was the very early ones in Nam.
yeah. Oh yeah, because it was like
that's not
mid
even
late
an A1.
60s. Yeah. Like I said, it might have been a 14, but the 16s came out mid to late 60s, but yeah, they ran. I'll put you this way, from stories that I've heard from the Nam guys, they were not big fans of the 16 back then, you know. And he said, tell him Ghost sent me. Absolutely, tell him Ghost sent you. He just says yes, Clover. I'm not sure what he's saying yes to, but okay. EJ waving, so I'm gonna do the old hi, how are you? Good seeing you, bro. Let's see here. Screaming, he says, I think the charging handle inside the carry handle is getting too hot, so they changed the design. I can see that. I could see that. FNH says, my bad, I was driving, but about to chow down. Will have some tacos for me. Georgia says, what is the best AR rifle out there? Man, that's just a subjective question. Do you have a price range, Georgia? Are you looking for something specific? And I'm not going to tell you which is the best. I can give you, depending on price range and what you're looking for, I can give you several to go look at, but it's a very subjective question on what is the best. That's why I put that poll up there, because I love doing those kind of polls. EJ shared it. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah. Clover says this is supposed to be a chat about the events last week and turn into, I mean, this is the longest you've gone talking tactical in a long time, I bet, hasn't it?
So let's talk tactical one last time.
All right.
And I'll mention this, and then we can move on because it'll go into the event, right?
Okay, so you're gonna give me a little bridge here. Okay,
yeah.
Go for it.
So I wanted to mention when we were talking about AR. So my first AR was the DPMS. Talking about out of the box. Actually, my first and only out of the box, I still own it, is a DPMS Panther. And so
I know where you're going with this.
Palmetto State is got DPMS Panther now. And so that was one of the last things I did at the gathering. I put it off. I walked by there a few times. And I thought that'd be kind of cool to get a video. So spoiler alert, there's a video coming. But I thought it'd be kind of cool since that was my first out of the box AR. And I talked with them about it when I was in there. And so, yeah, I shot one of the new, I guess you could say, DPMS rifles. It was pretty cool.
Absolutely. Rappin' Alaskan says, here at work, enjoying the show. Good stuff, gentlemen. Thank you. Hope we're entertaining. We're trying to be entertaining, but also maybe give us some knowledge out there, whether it's good knowledge or not. I can't vouch for that, but we're trying to drop a little bit of knowledge and just talk about our experiences. I hope you're enjoying that side of it, but yeah, I hope it's entertaining as well. So have a safe day at work. Be safe over there. Mighty Mouse says the first AR he shot was the first one he built. He didn't say what he built, but it must be a conglomerate of a lot of different parts. So yeah. Marcus says the A1. EJ says, yeah, the Mossberg 22 Tactical Sport had a carry handle with a rail on top of it. Now he's saying the Mossberg 22 Tactical Sport.
I sold mine.
That's all I'm going to say. That. I was going to say that's something you would have.
Yeah, I sold. A lot of people know I sold probably 30 guns or so between October and about SHOT Show last year, and that was one of the ones I parted with. Mossberg 715T. And it's a turd, man. I ain't never seen one that was worth a flip. I mean, for the price, you've got to take into account for the price, right? Go out on the range, plink some cans. If it jacks up, clean it, whatever. But I had nothing but trouble. I think Jeff from Gear Report would tell you the same thing with his and a lot of other people. So, yeah.
Now Georgia says about $1,500. There's a lot you can get for $1,500. POF, yeah, POF USA. Yeah, they're phenomenal. There's a lot of great ones out there. You could probably find a Black Rain, maybe the Scout probably might be in that price range. But yeah, the POF USA, POF, whatever you want to call it, is good. There's a lot of them that are out there that are really, really good for $1,500 for sure. If you've got $1,500, you should be able to find a phenomenal rifle. If you have any questions, email me, bro. Tell me what you're looking at, and I can tell you if I have any experiences. If I don't, then someone that I know has experience with pretty much everything. So email me, kind of give me a list of what you're looking at, and I can tell you what I think of those if you want to, bro. So Marcus, did anyone get to go to the gathering? And if so, did anybody get to play the CZ600? So
thanks, Marcus.
Thanks, Marcus. We are
moving on
to go into, and I'm sorry if I didn't see some of this. Yeah, Rod says the best AR is one that works for you. Absolutely. Mario's out there. So yes, we're going to talk about that. Clover and I were busy last week. I left out Monday night / Tuesday morning at midnight, drove the 7, actually ended up being 8 hours after stops and all that, to Talladega for the Shooting Sports Showcase hosted by Poma and Siopa. And who was the other one that was hosting that?
National Association of Sporting Goods Wholesalers.
There you go. I knew you'd know that. And they had a range day on Tuesday, a media day. I think there was me, you, and Adrian that I know of. I'm not saying there weren't, but that I know of. We're the only 3 YouTubers. There's a lot of written people there, bloggers, and all of that stuff. But it was a great one. It rained all day, but we got a lot of good work in, a lot of cool stuff. Got to shoot some guns that I hadn't shot before, that I wanted to shoot. I saw some guns that I was skeptical about shooting, that was pleasantly surprised with. So let's kind of break down the Shooting Sports Showcase before we go into the gathering, because we were at the gathering also.
Well, do you want to hit his question directly, because CZ wasn't there?
Sure.
CZ wasn't there.
I did not see CZ. If they were at the gathering, then they were hidden very well.
They weren't on the list that I seen anyway.
So I didn't see CZ, and if they were, no offense, I'm not a huge CZ guy. I probably wouldn't have gone.
You probably lost a sub just then. Just saying.
It is. I get it, and I'm sorry. I just,
that's okay. Marcus can go to my channel. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Jesus. Georgia says a Colt M4. Can't go wrong with a Colt M4. We were just talking about Colts before. Colt, you can't go wrong with it. If you're looking at a Colt M4, that's a solid choice. Real quick, Warsaw says if you had to choose between an M1 Grand and M14, M1 Grand, right now, because I don't have either one of them. I would like an M1 Grand right now. I just can't seem to find one for under $2,000. That's worth a damn. More importantly, I think overall, I'd probably eventually, once I get the M1 Grand, then my next one would be, as far as clones or replicas or old OG, it would be an
Yeah.
M14. But if I had to choose between the Grand and the M14, I would choose the. Now some people call it the Garand, I call it Grand. But yeah, the
Yeah.
M1 would be. I would choose that for sure. Yeah,
I'd go. It depends. If you're talking about, I got to pick one to add to the collection, and I can only have one. Yeah,
yeah,
Garand, without a doubt. If
yeah.
you're talking about I had to go fight with it or something,
Oh, that's a whole
I'd rather have
different
the
issue.
M14. M14.
100%,
M14.
100%. Yeah, I'm talking about the collection because
Yeah.
aside from grabbing that and just shooting a couple times just to shoot it, I wouldn't shoot it a whole lot. It would just be
Yeah.
like, something to have. But yeah.
Yep.
So let's get back to the shooting sports showcase on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like I said, we had a great day. It rained, but it was okay. We got so much done. Um,
Yeah, I think
of
I got
all of
9 videos. I think I got 9 videos out of it.
yeah. Um, Do you remember your favorite? And let's not call them guns. I'll just say your favorite product, because there might have been something that wasn't a gun or something. But do you remember what was your favorite product? Not
Cool.
surprising. We'll go to surprising next, but overall favorite product of the shooting sports showcase.
Man, it was awesome getting to shoot it was awesome getting to shoot the Trailblazer.
Yeah, that's cool.
But that was kind of one of them things where, it was on my radar already, and word on the street is I was the first one to shoot it. So that was
Yeah.
awesome.
What's the second? Because King Fudd over here had to be the first.
Yeah. Um, and then outside of that, I mean, as far as, it just depends on what you're talking about, right? Like,
Oh, just something that you enjoyed the most shooting.
enjoyed the most shooting. Yeah, probably the Trailblazer. Um,
Okay.
as far as enjoyed the booth, as far as like everything they had there, dead air silencers, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think.
they had a lot of stuff
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Well, there was that one, was it a 6.5 Creed
Yeah.
that they had
Yeah, the
that
Nomad LT.
was damn near Hollywood silent. I was like,
Yeah.
"Holy cow."
That
That was
video dropped earlier, by the way, for those
oh,
interested. Don't
nice.
jump off. Don't jump off. Watch it later. But yeah, the video with those. And then as far as just hanging out in a booth, EAA, without a doubt.
Hands down. We actually went to dinner with them that night, and that was one of the most enjoyable Olive Garden experiences I've ever
Yeah,
had.
because you picked on me all night.
We
Well, Paul
did.
did anyway.
We did. Paul was, so, he didn't talk a whole lot, but the guy from Excess Sights, I wonder what he thought about us at the end of the night, because he's like, "What the
That was
hell's going on here?"
no telling.
No, Paul had me rolling that night.
Wow.
Oh my
That's
god,
such a crazy
big guy.
group of guys. Great group of
Yes, it
guys.
is.
Crazy, but great.
Yeah, I've been speaking with TJ's out there, eating gins. TJ, you got a link, so if you want to jump in, you're more than. I just I got a text from Chase. He said, "I just got on to hear the Olive Garden."
Ha ha ha. Good
So
times.
yeah, absolutely. The best booth is EA, because those guys are awesome. So the most enjoyable you had was the dead air, probably the booth.
As far as the wide range of experiencing
Yeah,
the wide range of products, that was awesome. I mean, everything kind of has to go. It goes in its own little thing, right? It's hard to go to these events. It's hard to single out just one thing because, like, there are certain things that are cool in their own way.
yeah. My favorite to shoot was the AP5 from Century. I know it's a big surprise for people out there.
Mm.
Been waiting for that one. They're the two clones that I've been waiting for. One I actually got to shoot and talk with Adam about trying to get one. Review this thing. She said, "What's up, guys? You have a link also. You're more than willing to jump in here." Adrian, come on in
Now,
if you've got time. Jump in. The water's not too deep, and we promise not to bite too hard. So,
now, I would
but the
think.
AP5 was great. Now, now hold on, I'll lose my train of thought here. The AP5 was great, and obviously the other one that people have been waiting on is the PSA MP5 clone. That's never going to happen because the guy that was heading that up is no longer with PSA. That being said, the AP5 from Century is pretty damn good. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I would think a close second, or maybe in a different category that like surprised you, maybe was the Air Saber over at Umarex.
So that would be my surprise.
You enjoyed that one.
Um, I really, really, really enjoyed the Air Saber, and it's Umarex. It's an air gun that shoots arrows, an air arrow gun. I
An
don't know if
arrow,
that's what you would call it.
an air arrow. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, Now
arrow.
Chase says it's because I can't handle a 45. If you saw the video, then you know my wrist hurt,
Love it.
but I can handle a 45. So we've got a special guest. We got Adrian from Review This Thing. I'm gonna put her link up there. What's going on? We met last week in Talladega, and somehow, some way, I don't know how it happened, but we did not run into each other at the gathering. I think you ran into Clover at the gathering, but I didn't see you at the gathering. But yeah, so welcome. I want to give you a few minutes to kind of tell people who you are and all of that stuff if you want. And I want to put your link out to your review channel. Adrian is doing some amazing work. And here's the thing, a lot of firearm stuff, but it's not just a firearm review channel, which I think is really, really interesting. You've got a lot of different things that you're doing in the thing in your channel. So I'm going to give you a few minutes real quick to kind of talk about yourself and the channel real quick.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, it was really great getting to meet both you guys last week. Yeah, I still don't know how I missed you Thursday, but either way,
Yeah. Who knows?
I think so. I started out at the shotguns, and like nobody went up there, and then I went from there to the 1,000-yard range, and like nobody was up there. So then I kind of made
there was
my way
only like
back
2
around.
or 3 booths at the 1,000-yard range. There's only like 2 or 3 people there, which is I think was weird, you know.
Yeah. So while I was there, they were like, "You want to shoot a mile?" And I was like, "Yes, I do. That would be great." So yeah, that was awesome. But anyway, yeah. So our channel is Review This Thing, and like you said, we review a lot of different things. We've been around for about a year and a half, 2 years total, but really just kind of consistent for about a year and a half, and started off very purposefully trying not to just do hunting and outdoor things, but just by nature of what we do for fun, we hunt, we are outside, hiking, kayaking, cooking out, whatever. And then also, plenty of hunting and shooting. And over the past year, a lot more into just the skill of shooting, different, especially like rifles, pistols, definitely just a lot newer to the pistols. But these events just really make you realize how many different opportunities there are, how different different pistols, different suppressors, different rifles, there's so many things out there to try that it's not just, whenever I started buying hunting rifles, it was like, well, let's go to, Dick's or Bass Pro and buy one. Yeah. But just and knowing the things that I like and I look for compared to what other people like and look for, just being able to like tell people as much information as I can, so then they can decide for themselves if it's something they want to like go try to find.
So Clover's out there say what she's saying is she's a FUD. So Clover's King FUD. Do we go ahead and crown Adrian as Queen FUD? I don't know.
I need to know what this means.
So FUD is what we joke about it, but the community calls FUDs the hunters, the Elmer FUDs of the world. So Clover lives the FUD life. He coined himself as the King FUD. I get rashes when we start talking about shotguns, revolvers, all that stuff. He gets rashes when we start talking tactical stuff. So
yeah, there you go.
How we get along, I don't know. I have no idea how this happens.
Yes, I am 100% FUD. Getting ready to go get some turkeys here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up, isn't it? I got a buddy of mine who's actually down at his property right now, getting everything ready for the turkey hunt here in a few weeks. So yeah.
But the new stuff, new to me, it isn't new at all. But like at those events, all the tactical stuff and the ARs and the things you can do to the pistols, and then like I'm sure y'all talked about it. I got in here a little bit late, but the pivot, the 9mm pivot gun,
that's
like
pretty awesome.
just the stuff that is out there that if you're not aware of it, you miss out on a lot of cool stuff. So
Absolutely.
those events really just I've definitely been able to see a lot more, and it makes me just want to dig in even more to all the like the 3-gun stuff and the it looks like there's a lot of fun to be had in the firearm industry, in addition to the hunting industry and just outdoors in general.
Have you been? I didn't ask you this before, but have you been to a SHOT Show yet?
I haven't.
Oh, we gotta.
So
You gotta
we're
get
gonna
to
see you
SHOT
in
Show.
January, right? We're gonna get you to
Yeah.
SHOT Show in
I'm
January.
that happen. And I'm not saying that fleetingly.
Yeah.
Sell a kidney, whatever. You got plenty of time to heal. Make it happen. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's
Everybody at these events are like, now, do you do SHOT? I'm like, not yet.
it's a whole other thing, but it's an industry only thing. So if you're going to be included in the industry, that's the place that you go. Get contacts, or everyone's there. So you'll have the contacts, the range day. You'll be able to shoot anything and everything under the sun there. That's great. AAF's out there, American Ammo and Firearms out there. Guns and Barbecue says, talking to you, he just sent you an IG message. I'm not saying this. I'd block him. He's a little, no, I'm just kidding. No, he's a great guy.
Never talk to him again.
I bet it has something to do with like 2A Women Wednesday or something. I would be willing
He does
to
a great podcast.
Okay, cool.
He's probably going to have to get you on there.
And give me a minute.
Definitely when you want to do that. But don't block him. That was just a joke. So I kind of went with Clover on this, and I kind of answered mine. But Tuesday, we're just going to talk shooting showcase right now. What was your favorite product from Tuesday?
Wow. Okay. Favorite product. So this is probably gonna be off from what you guys were talking about.
No, there's no wrong answer here.
So I love, and I absolutely love at the Umarex tent.
Oh yeah, the saber, the arrow.
So okay, yes, that's awesome. But I love the training pistols that they have.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like they had the Glock. I think they had it's a Glock 17, like exact specs, but it shoots like powder balls and paintballs.
Yeah,
so like
the Umarex powder guns. Yeah.
So like they use it for like military, not military, law enforcement training and stuff, because like the slides move. It has a magazine, and you can like train and shoot paintballs or pepper balls, powder balls. But those things, I don't know, it's just fun because you can you shoot paintballs, but you're shooting like a pistol. And it's not like fake. It doesn't feel plastic.
You manipulate just like you would a 17 or a Walther PPQ, whatever one you get. They've got all sorts of different ones, but it's going to manipulate just like anything else. Great training tool. It fits in the same holsters as your other ones do. Fantastic. Absolutely.
So that's probably my favorite. My favorite part of the show, though, or the event was, I think.
Us, right? Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. Meeting us, right? Oh no. Yeah, okay. No. I said meeting us. That was your favorite part.
Oh yeah. Besides that, yeah.
I think the three of us, and I cannot verify this, but I'm pretty sure the three of us were the only actual YouTubers there.
Now, so I did see. So Hootie Who was there.
I did see Hootie Who was there,
and Alabama Arsenal.
Didn't see Alabama Arsenal either.
Yeah, I saw them up at my favorite place, which was the unknown distance range.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I saw them up there. There was a couple others that I was introduced to, but we'll stick with that.
I understand. No. All I'm gonna say is Chase knows exactly what I'm saying out there. You guys are gonna be meeting the White Rhino here shortly. That's all I'm gonna say. We're gonna have a little fun with the White Rhino. Good Lord. That was a weird phone call, by the way, Chase. Thanks for that. That kind of made my day just that much weirder when you called. Anyways, so we've done our favorites. Let's go to the most fun things. I think Clover said his favorite was probably the Dead Air, but the most fun, obviously, the EAA, because they're just great people. What was the most fun booth that you were at throughout the day?
So about 2:00, a lot of people had left because it was
I
raining.
was one of them. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. So I'd already been through everything by 2:00, but I was like, I'm here. There's a whole bunch of ammo that I didn't pay for. Let's go see what else we can shoot. So I went down to back to the Taurus booth.
Yeah.
And I stayed down there for like 30, 45 more minutes just shooting the different they had the GX4.
They had the CPX and they had the DVG.
Yeah. So then
the DVG's the new striker fired. Yeah.
No, she said Taurus, man.
Taurus.
The CX4. I'm sorry.
Yeah, CX4. There you
go. G4X.
I get that because there's the G3 and the GC and So the G4X Toro, so it had the red dot on it, and then they had the TX22 with the little suppressor on it, and I stayed down there forever and just shooting all that stuff. So that was probably most fun, just because I went and just hung out with them and shot. Nobody else was down there and just had a good time.
You haven't mentioned the Raging Hunter yet.
Which 38 special, the big honker
big revolver.
Oh yeah, now that was pretty doggone cool.
Yeah,
that was. I started getting hives on my arm.
See, I shot the 460 Smith and Wesson version of that last year.
Oh, okay.
And so that was cool when it was on the table. I'm like, okay, I got to shoot that one because I'm a big 38 357 fan, big, and I like that better. It's man, the 460 is awesome because it's a hand cannon.
Yeah.
But that 38 357 is a lot more fun.
And it did. There was. It's such a big gun, but there was like no recoil. Like it was just like,
it's like shooting 22 with those 38.
It was
specials.
fun.
It was crazy.
That was a fun gun to shoot. And of course, all the suppressed stuff.
TJ from he was not in Talladega, so you just sit there and be pretty, my friend. You just sit there and be pretty till we get to the gathering here. I'm just kidding.
That's what I do.
He can sign everything for our deaf listeners out there. So TJ, go ahead and do that for us as we talk, please.
Gotcha.
That's the deaf listeners. Isn't that kind of an oxy? Oh, never mind. That's me. Okay. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and go with this. We're still talking Shooting Sports Showcase. What's the one I'm going to start with Clover on this one. What's the one product that probably surprised you the most? Good or bad?
Okay, so I've already mentioned Dead Air. That was fun.
Dead Air,
really wasn't anything surprising. Just Dead Air makes good stuff. I knew that.
Sure.
I've got to say Sky, and it almost pains me a little bit, but
I know
you just gotta understand my experience and my background with Sky. And I talked with them pretty extensively about that. And there's shots around here that to this day do not carry Sky. When they first introduced, there was just all kinds of issues, whether they're warranted, whether they're user caused. I don't know. And maybe TJ can actually jump in on some Sky stuff. I don't know his experience on it, but I haven't had great experiences, and we know some other folks out there, other YouTubers that haven't had good experiences either, right? And so, especially with their striker fired model, right?
That the DVG that was my surprising thing too. And I'm not saying it's a world changer. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's pretty good, and it's a flat trigger. So I mean, it was a lot better than I anticipated.
And this is gonna go over into the gathering just a little bit, and the spoiler alert when we start talking about that. But the last thing I shot there, of course, you conned me into shooting the stance.
The Savage stance, yeah.
I would take the Sky over the stance. That's my absolutely 100%.
Interesting.
Yeah, which was again adds to I was surprised, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. Yeah. And I'll be the first one to say that I was very hesitant about going to the Sky booth for reasons that you understand that don't even be public, but I really didn't want to go. But I had heard things about the striker fire. So I said, all right, let's go in there with an open mind and let's shoot it. And you're right. It is not the greatest thing on the world, but coming from where the hammer fired is, to the striker, it is a vast improvement. So they might have gotten something right finally. Adrian, what about you? What's the one product that surprised you, good or bad, at the showcase?
Probably. That's a great question.
I only ask the great questions. Wow.
This is kind of I don't know. This is kind of an easy one. This is low hanging fruit, but I really the pivot, like just it was how fun that was to shoot. I wasn't expecting it to be quite that fun to shoot.
To me, and it's not because we're good friends with those guys, and I was actually there thanks to Spencer. I'm not a member of POMA. I was actually there under their invite. So nice for those guys that invite me. But I would say probably for me, as much as I love that AP5, I would say that probably the star of the show, and you guys, I'll get your feedback as well, but the star of the whole show was probably the pivot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it is innovative. It is different than anything I've ever seen. And it actually shoots really well, you know?
So after SHOT Show, leading up to SHOT Show, and we spent a lot of time with Spencer and Aaron and the guys there at SHOT Show. Just the innovation, the quality, the time, and Spencer, I think is going to be on here with you eventually. But for those interested, I had a podcast with him a few weeks back. Just everything they went through with the design and everything on that. But we didn't get to lay a hand. We didn't get to shoot it, right? Yep. So it had a lot to live up to. And that's what a lot of people have to understand. It's not that it's the coolest, newest thing that swivels around and does all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, it does that. But it's just cool. There's all kinds of these cool aspects to it. It had a ton to live up to. And it lived up to it. It shot great. It was on target. The trigger shot fine. I mean, and they had zero issues with that all day long. Zero. Yep. Talking about it being damp outside.
And no problems.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, it's one of those things where you look at a product like that, and is it the greatest thing on the market? No. But at some point, don't we have to celebrate innovation? Because a lot of the people say there's no more innovation left in the industry. That is truly innovative. And it works. A lot of people can do some crazy things in design, but they just don't work when you get the end product. The pride that they take in their craftsmanship, the pride they take in putting that together, and how long it's taken them to get it to market is unbelievable. Yeah.
And one of the things that I know they kept asking you, and they've asked me that the whole time I've known them, is what do you think? Is there any improvements? Is there something we need to work on? Is there a feature? Is the radius here, the curve, or the curvature, or the stippling, or whatever? You know, they want feedback. If there's something anything you don't like, it's like, we want to know, and they literally tell you that. And I rack my brain at night thinking about the pivot and what could I tell them to possibly fix. I can't come up with anything.
Yeah. Well, I know that they were talking, Spencer was talking about right before they went to Talladega, they changed some internals in there, little parts in there, and they were really happy that they were able to utilize that as kind of a test to see, okay, we think this is going to be even better. How did it? And obviously it worked out very well for them. So yeah, they're always continuing to strive to find something better and all of that. Chase said pivot was pretty cool and not shot vaporware. No, it was not something that they designed just for a shot to get people at the booth. This is actually a real thing, and it's going to be out soon. And we can the three of us can tell you it's the real deal. It's actually there. What you got there, man? What you got, TJ? What you drinking there? You're muted. Assigned to him. You are muted. Yeah. What?
Bourbon and Pepsi. Usual.
Bourbon and Pepsi. All right. Anything for me? I would say the pivot. To me, the coolest thing that I just really enjoyed shooting was that double barrel Umarex arrow gun.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's just badass. It's one of those things where you look at it, and I was shooting it and I was filming a video, and these guys obviously didn't know that because they were walking up to the booth. and I shoot the first. It's double barrel. You had to switch the barrel over or whatever. And I shoot the first one, and all of a sudden in the back, you hear, "Holy shit!" And I'm like, "That's what I was saying. Holy shit! Like this thing is cool." And then, but it was probably that to me, that and the pivot were the stars of the show for sure. Okay, Clover, you want to TJ's getting bored, but we're going to kind of close up the showcase before we move into the gathering. So Clover, I know you said you wanted to bring something up on the showcase.
Yeah, I mean, since I was there last year, which was the first year, I did go to the meet and greet the night before.
Oh yeah.
And that was pretty fun, getting to hang out with Chase and Spencer, and of course Mark was there from Umarex and all the other guys.
Well, the characters were there, huh?
And Thomas with Poma and Shelly, and talking with all them, and I talked with the people from Poma. Again, you got Poma, which is Professional Outdoor Media Association. You got SEOPA, which is Southeastern Outdoor Press Association. And if you're serious about content online, probably a good idea to be a member of both of those. And then, of course, National Association of Sporting Good Wholesalers. But yeah, talk with all those guys. Obviously, before the show, I stayed after you left, and I spent a lot of time in the clubhouse just talking with those about
some
different things. Now, Chase and I had some conversation about shotguns. I was disappointed last year, and I was disappointed again this year. If you've never been down to their shotgun facility, it's absolutely amazing.
At the Talladega CMP range?
The Talladega CMP Park, yes. It is awesome. And it is a waste to not have companies there doing things with shotguns. And
that is by far the coolest range I've ever been to. That is an amazing facility. It really is.
And I did talk to them because, again, they want our feedback on the event and different things. They talked to us about a variety of things, a lot, which I won't go into here. It's more private. But one of the things we did talk heavily on was getting some companies in and utilizing the shotgun fields down there, because I think people would absolutely enjoy that, because it's such a beautiful facility. Why not use every aspect of it?
Yeah. So that's going to be a great segue. Hold on real quick. Mandatory carry, $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. We do not ask, nor do we encourage super chats, but know that all super chats that we get go towards sending care packages to our troops downrange. So I appreciate you very much. Segue with shotguns. We'll go ahead and segue into the gathering. We'll talk the backstory of the gathering here in a second. But you almost didn't get to shoot a single shotgun at the gathering, because I didn't even know there were shotguns there until the very end of the day.
So now I'm mad at Adrian, and I haven't been mad at Adrian since we met. And so I'm mad now because she should have told me that if she went there first. But everybody I talked to, I said, "What's around the corner?" I never asked specifically about shotguns, but I said, "What's around the corner past Glock?" And I don't know how many. I don't know how many.
I never saw anything down there.
I don't know how many people I asked that question. And of course it worked out. It worked out. And I'll tell you why. But, I said, "What's that?" And everybody, there's nothing past there. There's nothing past that. Well, it was toward the end of the day. And on, what was that, Friday, I guess, right? Toward the end of the day. Well, the clouds were moving in, and the rain was coming, of course. And I thought, okay, well, I want to get some B-roll of some different bays and everything, because I may want to put together a video on the event. And so I walk around the Glock, and I just say hey to them. I'm not interested. They don't have anything new. Wasn't interested in shooting anything. Say hey to them. And I had to go to the bathroom. And I seen a porta potty kind of around the corner up the hill a bit. So I'm walking to that porta potty. And about halfway there, I see a sign beyond it. Can't read it, of course. And I was wondering, it looked like it said The Gathering on the sign. I could make that out, but I couldn't really make anything else out. So I go to the porta potty, come out, of course, and I'm close enough I can read the sign, and it says like shotgun clays or shotgun courses or something on that sign, and it has an arrow. So I walk up a little further, and there's all the flags and the bays, and I'm like, oh, I'm home. Thank God. And so the first booth I walked into was Beretta.
I'm home.
Yeah. So the first booth I walked into was Beretta, and I didn't even think about this, but I was wearing all Beretta. I was wearing my Beretta pants. I was wearing my Beretta vest, and I walked in, and he said, "You're in the right booth." I'm like, "Yes, I am." Let's shoot some Berettas.
We'll shill for anyone.
So it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was so funny because I think I caught up with you. I was walking down probably to go see bye to Cody and Jacob at Taurus. We ran into each other at HD Hunter's HD Gold. You said, "Did you know there's shotguns here?" And I was like, "No, there's not." He said, "Yeah, it's around by the Glock." I said, "There's nothing down that road. I promise you." He goes, "I was just there." So yeah, there you go. I'm sure that made your whole week is that the gathering did have
I
shotguns.
actually got to shoot some shotguns. Yeah, I'm
So they're
ecstatic.
actually like there was a map. So if you went to
I
the
don't read
website,
maps.
Yeah, I don't
so,
read. That's like
so
reading instructions. Come
that's
on,
right.
we're not
True.
gonna
I
do
didn't
that.
think about that.
We're
But yeah, so like
guys.
on their page, if you hit like vendors or whatever, on
Yeah.
you clicked on the page, like it showed you a map and it showed like the so I was a little disappointed because like I think Winchester and Browning were supposed to be there also.
Mm.
But when I went up there on Thursday, it was Beretta, Cronky, and Benelli. That was the
And
only
Stoker.
ones that were up there.
Stover. Yeah, because they're all under one umbrella, I
Yeah.
think, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed, but yeah, it was. That was like the first place I went because I was like, man, I need to go shoot some of these shotguns. I gotta figure out some the next one I'm gonna review. So I had to go up there and try the shotguns first.
Well, it worked out great for me because all
This
of
is
those
not going to turn into a shotgun chat. people.
too late because all of those are under the Beretta umbrella, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, me walking in just like back to the nines and Beretta. I mean, it couldn't have been any more perfect. Like you said, nobody was up there,
Nobody was up there.
and so I had plenty of time to talk to all
No
of
deal
them
with
and
shotguns.
everything. So it's like this is cool because that's one of the things we really hadn't talked about. We've talked about the cool stuff at these events, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things is and I don't know about anybody else, be curious to know, but I actually had time to talk with people
Yeah.
and network and all of that at these events too, which I expected that at the Shooting Sports Showcase. I didn't expect that. In fact, I think I told Adrian this on Tuesday of Showcase that I'm not expecting my first time at the gathering. I'm not expecting much,
Right.
and I got way more out of it than I expected. I was
Mhm.
surprised with the event overall.
Yeah. Defense Dad says, was Smith & Wesson there with their CSX? Smith & Wesson was there.
Mhm. I
So
was
yeah,
in the booth, but I didn't shoot the CSX. I had to go
Yeah.
for the 10 millimeter and the 22.
let's talk real quick about the gathering. We'll bring TJ in here. What's up, homie?
Yeah.
Nothing, man. Just chilling. You guys listen. You guys can talk all you want. I'm good. I'm listening because I didn't get to go to that show. So
He's doing what he
listening.
does best, which is just look pretty. So it's all good.
I know.
He's the icon.
Moneymaker.
TJ, I didn't get to meet you. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
We met.
You didn't meet TJ?
I don't think so.
He wasn't there when
So,
Jeff walked up.
Did you see? Did you see the gear report, Humvee, and all of that?
Oh yeah.
So Clover and I, we moonlight and write for Gear Report. TJ is actually like one of the head honchos at Gear Report.
Oh,
And
okay.
like I said, he's LFA because Jeff won't like that, but he's got a title and everything. So
I'm the director of snacks and beverages.
I got you. I did get to talk to
but
Jeff
no,
a
we've
little
been,
bit, but
yeah, we're good friends and all of that. And yeah, I think that I know that Clover talked to Jeff about you, and maybe you and Jeff talked. I think that you would be a phenomenal addition to the Gear Report team.
thanks.
But yeah, so they camped out. They brought a CP tent and they camped out in the mud, in the blood, and the beer.
Glorious.
And I'm sure it was. So I want to bring TJ in and say, before we start talking products, how was your time in South Carolina with all the mud and the rain?
It wasn't terrible. Like, there's plenty of beverages, of course, because you know me. Setting up the tent wasn't bad. There was plenty of us up there. I mean, OB was up there, Sarge. We had
they stay with you or they just hang out with you guys?
No, they just helped us set up the tent. We roped them in and helped us set up the tent.
Nice.
So that set up pretty. We got the tent set up pretty quick, and it was drier. I did freeze my butt off the first night. I'm gonna throw that out there.
It got cold, man. I'm not gonna lie. It got cold.
It did. Florida boy didn't like the cold.
You don't own a jacket, so it's what it is.
They don't have any camping stuff. I went up there with a pillow and a comforter
and wingtips. And your wingtips.
Yep. Darn right, wingtips.
By the way, he wears wingtips everywhere, like in the mud. He says they're the most comfortable things in the world. he wears wingtips.
Listen, you know what? I told you why, because I could clean those. I couldn't clean my Vans or my other shoes, my Olacais. They would be destroyed. Crystal would kill me.
Oh gosh.
So you take the expensive wingtips in the mud. That's brilliant.
I can clean them right up. They cleaned right up, man. They look good. Brand new. Yeah. New enough. Come on now.
It's newish. All right. So
Newish.
let's kind of go this way real quick. Overall impression of the gathering. Was this your first year or your second year? Did you go last year? Okay.
Second year. Yep.
So overall impression of this year, and there you go. And maybe compare it to last year as well, if you can.
I mean, it was this year was pretty good. It was a little more expansive this year. It was a little spread out. So last year wasn't. Last year was all more. You know,
You had to do some walking.
It was at the sawmill last year. Everything was really close. It was within that training facility there, so it was really confined. I mean, it rained like last year too, like monsooned. We had to stop a couple.
Did you have the mud puddle in the parking lot last year?
There were puddles, yes. There were lots of mud puddles, but we had like tornado warnings, so we had to everybody had to shut down for a little while.
And then it turned out beautiful, didn't it?
Oh,
I forgot about that.
Like me and Jeff were walking around, like, can we get an RSO out here to shoot? They're like, yeah, it's fine. So as far as that, it was this one I think is a little better. I think they learned a little bit from last time. You know, the media day was a big help. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
That really helped us.
All except for 1 or 2 videos that I needed to get done. I got done that first day. So as I knew, and this is not a crack, but I knew how it was going to be when you start letting the public in. They don't realize that we're trying to get footage, and they don't necessarily care because they want to shoot the guns. So they walk in between shots and all of that.
And in fairness, they pay to get in and shoot the gun. So yeah,
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I'm not worried about that. That's why I try to get most of my stuff done. I think I had 2 things I had to get done on Friday before we got done. Which was nice. Nice.
I knew Friday was going to be good too. I mean, people got to work. I knew Saturday was going to be busy.
They said they were expecting 700 people over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So that's pretty good.
Well, I had 2 times that they shut down the adjacent bay or whatever, because some bays were shared, so not adjacent bays, but the other tent in the bay, that they actually went cold for me on that other one. For I was like, hey, can you give me 5 minutes? Like literally. It's okay when they're shooting in another bay. It's okay when they're shooting down on a range somewhere else, but right next to you, come on.
Yeah, we did that. I wanted to do some footage just for my channel, but it was also footage for Ron and for Riker to get some footage for him to do that. And so right next door to, the same bay, so right next to Riker's table was Century. Well, Century had the full auto AK, so people were just rattling off that. Right next to them in the same bay was CMMG, and they had the full auto Banshee. So everyone's just going nuts on full auto, and we're trying to film here. So finally, we walked down there. I was like, look, can you give us 5 or 10 minutes? And they're like, absolutely. That gives us time to go use the restroom, whatever. So we went cold, and we did our thing for a few minutes and all of that. And but yeah, you wouldn't have been able to do that on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So Thursday, having that media was nice to do that real quick. Thanks to G23, $20 super chat. Has anyone shot the SIG P322, the new SIG and 22 LR? I have not, but any of you guys shot that? Clover?
Not yet.
No, I was interested in it, but it didn't make it, unfortunately. So we'll have to catch that one later on. I will say one of the times they shut down a range was on Friday for me.
Yeah,
that's because I knew who you were.
Probably.
You walked up and they're like, "Oh, it's Clover."
Probably, yeah.
Don't y'all fools know who I am?
Well, I don't have to tell anybody.
Cold range, guys. We're going cold. Clover's here.
Clover's here.
Yeah,
that's the way it should be, right?
I mean, sure.
Well, if you're networking and meeting people,
let's feed his ego a little bit.
It doesn't. Okay, stop. Because here's the thing: it has nothing to do with being a big, huge channel and internet.
We know you're not big in here.
It has to do. It has to do with putting in the time and meeting people. It's all it is.
Yeah, no. Thursday, if you asked them to shut down, they would. It was. I mean, they're pretty much whatever you want. Yeah. Want to shoot a video? Perfect. Let's do it.
I'm gonna say the biggest takeaway that's a disappointment for me was food and water availability. You had one food truck, and it was that barbecue. They were only there for like 2 hours a day. There was hardly any water to be found at that place, whether free or to buy, and you're out there, you're humping it, man. You're humping at some of these places. You go from the shotgun bay all the way out to bay number 1. It was not just around the corner. So
yeah, literally when I was walking to go to the 1,000-yard range, my watch asked me if I was working out.
You get a little trot in there.
Yeah, it's like, are you exercising? Do you want to record this outdoor walk?
Yeah, it was a poke. I saw the sign and I was like, I don't know. Jeff he looks at me. I look at him. I was like, it's a little windy to shoot long range today. I was like, I'll be all right. But there was water. They had a cooler full of water down by the 2 vendor tents where we came up. Yeah, but it was always full. I'll give you that. It was always full, and then the food trucks there was two on Saturday, I think.
Yeah,
I definitely.
I wasn't there Saturday or Sunday. I left.
Yeah, Saturday they had two food trucks.
5 in the morning, Saturday morning. So yeah,
I definitely forgot to eat on Thursday, and that was a problem.
We ate Friday when we ate a ton. We got back. We cooked out Thursday night. Friday, Clover and I stopped off and got some Chick-fil-A and then got us a Wendy's Frosty. So, yeah, we made up for it. Roll call says FN just recalled some of the new 502 22 LR. Interesting. It is what it is. Now, Chase, I don't know if I know TJ being Clover. Adrian, Chase, he is at EAA in Gerson. He says it was the accessible range for the handicapped leprechaun pinky. For those of you who don't know, Clover hurt his little pinky.
I didn't notice that.
He's walking around eating and drinking everything with that pinky stuck out. And believe me, we spent an hour and a half on that at Olive Garden, just destroying him. But yes, the leprechaun pinky was hurt. So.
It's great cover. I'm pretentious, so I stick the pinky up anyway, just because that's me. But I put the little brace on there just so it, it's great cover. Sure. Great cover.
All right. So let's actually get into this.
It's injured.
I'm gonna start. Yeah, it's injured. All right. Ask him how. Don't do that right now.
I don't want.
So TJ, we'll start with you. Favorite gun of the gathering, if you could choose one. What was your favorite that you just had a blast shooting?
Oh, if I could shoot one,
you could just shoot one.
It's a tough call. I mean, I like the I had fun shooting the Jackal.
Yeah.
And then, of course, anything full auto, the Centuries AK and the CMMG. But, as far as semi, I like shooting the Jackal.
Did you see the Tavor? They had a full auto Tavor down there at IWI.
Oh, yeah.
I love Tavors. I'm not going to pay for one, but they're
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. And anytime I can shoot full auto, I'm going to throw out a mag.
Sure. Absolutely.
So
I want to go to Adrian. If you could choose one thing to shoot and only one thing, what would it be?
That the Barrett MRAD.
Oh, snap. Yeah.
That was fun.
Pretty cool, huh? Was it?
Yeah. That was fun.
What range did they have that at?
That was at the 1,000-yard, the mile.
1,000-yard.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That one was it's super smooth trigger. Of course, it had I don't know which vortex, but like a crazy awesome vortex scope on it, and it was chambered in. The one I shot was chambered in 338 Lapua, and it was suppressed, so it was
God's caliber.
It was pretty sweet. That's what I was telling you. Like nobody was there, so they let me. I feel like I wasn't like the mile thing was like supposed to be later in the weekend.
Yeah,
but nobody was there, so they let me do it.
Why not?
And so then, so I hit the mile thing the first time, which was kind of anticlimactic because nobody else was there except them. So I was like wanting to have a big party.
No one was there to celebrate with you, huh?
They're like, here's a coin. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then they were like, well, let's try a little bit further. So there was an 18-inch gong about at 1,800 yards. So I got to try that
18-inch
one.
long at 1,800
Yeah.
yards.
I
Interesting.
barely missed it low. I didn't hold over it high enough, but
That's a 1 MOA.
yeah,
But 1,800 yards is tough to hit a 1 MOA.
yeah.
And it was windy. It wasn't like it was just calm and really pretty, you know?
It was fun, but that thing, it was nice. Like, it was a really
Bet.
nice shooting gun for sure.
Yeah. Now Chase says, so when we go there next year, you're telling me to bring plenty of snacks. Yes, Chase, bring plenty of snacks
Pack
and
some
bring
cheeseburgers in your
extra
pocket.
for us, not just for you guys. You and Paul, and bring them for us so we could have some snacks as well.
We had plenty of stuff up at the tent.
Okay. This is a valid point. Well, what was the director of snacks and beverages doing? That's a valid point Rod has there, TJ.
Listen, Rod, we had burgers, dogs, all kinds of snacks up at the tent. Nobody came up there.
Oh,
I was prepared for a party.
I have to remember that next year.
So I just doubled down on my party skills, and I took care of it. It's fine.
So Clover has to come in and say, God's name is John Moses Browning. That's fair. And that would be the 50 BMG, just saying. I'm not going to argue with you because they're both great. I just prefer a 3.38 Lapua, but I can't argue your argument. So there. Let's go to Clover because this is going to be in the next 20 minutes. So he can't answer anything short. So I'm going to say, what was your favorite to shoot? The one thing, if you could take away with you from the gathering, what would that be, Clover?
Just one. Rock Island Armory TM22.
That is something that I never thought I would hear. The Rock Island would be your okay. So yeah, take the floor on that one.
Man, it's awesome. So
Actually, go ahead and do that for a few minutes because I've got to step out here for just 1 second. Sorry, go ahead.
So how I missed that at SHOT Show, I don't know if it was even out at SHOT Show. Maybe TJ knows. I don't know. But yeah, it is literally an all metal 22. So that's what the TM stands for, is the metal 22. And semi-auto, very minimal, if I can say that, in nature. And what was crazy about it, even the magazines were metal. It's like, when was the last time you seen a metal magazine in anything? Honestly, yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was cool. So, did you play with that one at all, TJ?
I shot a little bit. I mean, I've shot every gun up there. I mean, between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I had my buddy Norm came up. He was about an hour away, so he came up Saturday.
Yeah.
So and he doesn't shoot. He doesn't get to shoot a lot. So I ran him through like, all right, let's go to the M240, and up there at up the hill there, and then let's go to we hit. So I shot him all that full auto, and we just started working down the hill. I was like, listen, you paid your $40. Shoot everything here.
Right. Did you shoot that one, Adrian?
I did not. I don't think, were they toward the end? I don't think I've.
No, they weren't. So here was the thing. So you know where Hyperfire was, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were in the bay with Hyperfire, but they had no signs.
That's what. Yeah.
So
I saw the Hyperfire.
Yeah, it was the white tent with nothing on it.
Yeah. So I was walking around, and it was that first when you first walk in, at least from the parking area, that first pavilion or covered area, and I was walking around in there doing something, and walked by the Rock Island Armory. They had a booth in there, and they had their double hammer shotgun there on the table. Of course, nobody was shooting it, but that thing got to shoot that at SHOT Show. That's awesome. And I seen it sitting there, and I'm like, "Whoa, what is this?" Anyway, and he told me, he said, "Oh, that's the all metal, 22, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "How did I miss that?" And he's like, "It's in the booth over there. You can shoot it." And I'm like, "Well, cool." So I walked over there, and I walked back and forth, and I'm like, "Where?" And I even asked several people, I'm like, "Where's Rock Island?" And they go, "Oh, they're right over there." And I'm like, I walk back and forth, and finally I asked somebody, and they go, "They're right there." They said they're right there next to Hyperfire.
I with the weird pants. Those were colorful.
Yeah, that's true. And I was like, okay, must be the one that there's no signs, right? There was a sign there that was, I can't remember what it said, but there was a sign there that said something, and it wasn't Arms Corps or Rock Island Armory. And so that was what was throwing me off. But yeah, finally was able to, and I don't know what else they had there, to be quite honest with you. I don't even know. That's what I went to shoot, and I did.
I know, Adrian, you've got to check out here in a few
Yep.
minutes. Question real quick. Anything like a funny story or anything that happened that was funny? And then I want to go ahead and give you a few minutes also, once again, to tell people where they can find you on social media and all that stuff as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Clover was actually there for this adventure. So when we got there, parking was in the field.
Yeah.
And so it rained like 65 feet the day before. So I have a Mini Cooper. And so I'm pulling in to park, and like the mud, I mean, it was at like, 11 o'clock. So the mud is already like 6 inches deep. And I'm like scooting along this path of all this deep mud, and I'm scraping, and I'm like, I'm never actually going to get out of this parking lot once I get parked, because the mud is just going to get worse. But so I'm like, I guess I'm here for a while. But yeah, thankfully they had cut a new parking lot or something. I mean, a new drive to get out.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, it was muddy. It was not there, and there was some dude stuck in a big SUV on the side. They had to winch
I
him
came
out.
in from the front, luckily, because we didn't have to go through that. But my car would have definitely gotten stuck.
Yeah.
But I came in from the front, so it all worked out. And then I rode with Clover the next day because I knew that if it was bad, there was no way. Because at least Clover's car had front wheel drive. I was not going to go through that.
Yeah, it was rough. There were at least 2 cars that got stuck just in the like 10 minutes that before we came in there. But yeah. I really appreciate y'all having me. It was great
Anytime
meeting.
you've got an open invite, I'm going to add you to the list. You're more than welcome to come on anytime.
Sweet. Yeah, that'd be great. And we can just keep talking more about hunting. That'd be
okay. And there goes the invite. You and Clover can do your thing. TJ and I will do our thing.
That's
and
right.
We'll have a battle. See who wins. I have the magic mute button.
But thank you very much. Yeah.
Anytime like I said, you're more than welcome anytime. Besides the YouTube, I just put the link up there for your YouTube channel. Review this thing. Where else are you on social media? And if people want to get a hold of you, is there an easier way to get a hold of you besides a DM?
No, that's probably the easiest way. Just go through Instagram. Handle is Review This Thing. Facebook is Review This Thing. Thankfully, they were all there, so I don't have to do
this thing.
This with an I. The thing.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I didn't get too cool. I didn't get too out there, but so check out our channel. Like I said, there probably because of events like this past week, we're going to have more firearms just because hopefully we'll have more availability to get things and try them out. But just reviewing things. And the thing with us is we're a lot more, basically, if you want to know about something, we want you to come watch our video and then make a decision. Like, we don't want you to have to watch us and then watch this one and then this one and then this one. So they're fairly, they're 8 to 10 minutes long, but they're chapters. You can fast forward, but we basically just want you to not have to go.
10 minutes ain't bad. Like Nothing Fancy goes for like 45 minutes on some of his. So I was like,
So what you want to know, quick and easy. If you have questions, ask them. We answer every comment. So if you have a question, we didn't answer it, ask it and I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great meeting you last week. I look forward to getting to know you a lot better in the next few years. Hopefully see you at SHOT in January.
I think I'm going to have to make that happen.
Hey, no, hopefully you're going to be there one way or the other.
If you don't, we're gonna rag on you a little bit.
I'll put it on the calendar.
You're killing me. Chase is sending me texts throughout the entire night, and it's stuff that it's just hilarious. And so thank you for keeping me on my toes, but I'm live right now, homie. I'm live. So go check out. That's why he's doing it. Absolutely it is. But go check out Review This Thing. She does a great work. Really awesome person. And like I said, you have an open invite anytime you want. So
thank you. I'll be here again. Thank you, guys.
You got it. Thank you. Be safe. Old G23 says this right as she's leaving. Asks if she reloads.
Go ask on her channel. There you go.
Go ask her on her channel or slide into her DMs. So so funny story that I know Clover, he told everybody in the fucking world last week. I'm sure he wants to tell us. I'm gonna give you a backstory. So
they don't need
he was
backstory.
He was supposed to stay with Jeff and TJ and all those at the Gear Report headquarters. Well,
Just screwed me over. Just say it. Say it.
Just screwed him over and says, I'm not going to show up till Wednesday. We got there Thursday. He's not going to show up till Thursday. We got there Wednesday. I'm staying at a house with a bunch of Marine guys, all Marines. And I said, Clove, just come crash on the couch. We got a couch there, blah, blah, blah. So he comes over, and you can only imagine the conversations that we're having on the front deck of this house, just having a good time and all of this stuff. And at this point, I'm going to let Clover take over because he thinks this is funny as hell.
It is. So here's the thing. So yeah, first of all, props to you and Ron and the other guys for letting me stay. I appreciate it, and I think we all had fun regardless. But
we had a good time. We actually same the whole time, so it was great having you there. By the way,
but so this is, I don't remember if this was the first night or the second night.
Wednesday night. Yeah, this is Wednesday.
Doesn't really matter, but I've got the laptop. Yeah, it was because I was working on. I had my laptop. We were all sitting out
on showcase stuff. Yeah,
we're sitting out on the porch, and I'm working on some stuff from the showcase because I'm there with literally the tip of the spear. Right, these guys tough as nails, and they're telling stories about driving over landmines and how many confirmed kills they had in Fallujah, and coming up out of the mud with a Rambo knife and taking out Charlie, and just all of this crazy like tough guy. Semper Fi stuff, right? And all of a sudden, a stray cat goes, Rawr! And every one of these Marines, every one of these jarheads, every one of these leathernecks literally break a hole in the ceiling. They jump so high. And they go, oh my God, what is that? And I take my earbuds out because I'm like, that's like a stray cat. And it goes, Rawr! Again, and they jump again. And I'm like, it's a really good thing the Taliban didn't have cats.
If you want to beat Marines, you send cats over to the base and they'll just.
I hope we never have to. I hope we never have to go to war with the Thundercats, because if we do, we're screwed. We cannot rely on the Marines. It's not going to happen.
It was pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, we literally were airborne. Like, what the hell was that? And it was like two cats fighting or something. I don't know.
It was a dog chasing the cat, I think, is what it was.
It was
something like that.
I wasn't paying attention at that point.
But it's like, man, these guys need to like, when they come back in their own PT or QT or AT or PM or whatever it is, they need to spend a little more time in the woods, or maybe just in a rundown trailer park so they hear a stray cat scream every now and then. Like, good Lord. Maybe that needs to be part of the training. Like when they lock you in a box, right? And in your training and all, and they play music. Maybe they need to play stray cats screaming. Maybe that would help with the to teach the Marines that that's a normal noise you hear in the outdoors sometimes.
See, now this is just wrong, but Chase says you should have brought a preschool supply of crayons to calm them.
Oh, I know. It would have to be the grape ones, without a doubt.
At least my favorite. I can't speak for anyone else, but my favorite are the grape ones. So yeah, that was pretty funny. We had a great time. We cooked out every night. Just had a great time. But yeah, it was nice to have you there. I'm sure that you were probably, at least in the beginning, probably a little, I'm not say uncomfortable, but probably felt like you were out of place. But
I'll be honest with you, I sort of felt like
you were fine.
I sort of felt like a fifth wheel or whatever it was for the whole time, to be quite honest with you. It is what it is. But, I didn't feel unwanted or unwelcome. You know what I mean? It was just, it was weird. I mean, what am I going to talk about? And I didn't talk a lot, right? I mean,
no, you didn't. I mean, you and I talked, when we were all hanging out doing our own thing, but yeah, it was just one of those, that's just what happens. And it's not just with Marines. I think it was anyone that's kind of been through similar stuff. That's kind of where you go. That's what you talk about. And we were talking about, like me and Ron are obviously much older than the other two that were there. And so we were talking about Okinawa back in the 90s, and these guys didn't even go in till like 2008 or something. I mean, it's just like, what the hell? Or 2002, I guess, as some of them, a couple of them did. But yeah, it's just one of those things where we were talking about old times and different bases and different training, because the training and the tactics that they use today are so vastly different than the tactics and training that we did back then. It was just kind of bridging those two. The funny thing is one of them, and I'm not supposed to mention their names right now, but one of them was an E3, and worked for Ron when Ron was an E7 before and Ron retired as an E8 at Master Sergeant. But one of them was on his team as a E3 Lance Corporal, and they go way back. So Ron's known him since he was basically a boot. So, which I thought was kind of cool. Pretty cool. All right. So TJ, staying in the CP tent with the Humvee, with all the gear report, you had you and Jeff and Toby and Alan and JJ and Randall. You guys had a fun tent. There had to have been some funny ass stories and shenanigans going on there. Anything that you can talk about publicly?
I mean, I don't know if they're really shenanigans. We just kind of, as soon as I got to the tent, I had to start cooking. So
yeah,
I was grilling
dogs and the food and snacks. So.
I know dogs. I kept everybody fed. We did have to do the, we did run around like idiots trying to find enough signal to do Thursday night show.
Yeah,
that was probably the most shenanigans we had. We were, up top. We're using my phone. We ended up going down to the office that they left open for us, and figured.
You guys had showers still there though, too. Though that helped.
Yeah. Oh, it did.
Yeah, it helped. Because I've used a GI shower before, and that's not fun.
And they had a giant coffee maker for Jeff, so he was really excited about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, we ended up just sitting down there using my my phone as a hotspot. The crappiest signal ever. And then that was about it. Like I said, it was just besides just running around in the mud.
Yep. Yeah, I was on breakfast duty, so basically me and Ron did the eggs and the bacon and all of that. We tried to let Clover get the hash browns and tater tots done, but I'm just going to say the oven there was interesting, and every morning and every night we were having to have someone on standby for the smoke detector, and it wasn't Clover's fault. We all did it, but that smoke detector, if you would have like just breathed a little bit, it was going off. So we were sitting there with the blanket on the smoke detector.
That oven would turn on and off like by itself. It was possessed.
Yeah, it was.
The first batch of tots I put in, I got to look in and it because it turned off. And then I was like, okay, well these are obviously they're cooked, right? It's like they're soft, but I mean they'll work.
Still fine.
And so I put the other batch in because I was like, well, we could have that for hash browns or whatever the next morning. We ain't got to worry about cooking them. And those cooked like almost burn them. And they weren't there in no time. And I'm like, this. And then like the next morning or something, or one day or morning, we got up and the oven was running. And it was like, how come the oven's on? And
no. Like we had done the breakfast. This was, I guess, Thursday morning. I always did the eggs and all of that. And Ron was doing bacon. And I guess he put the bacon. I don't know if we did hash browns the second morning, but I know we did that Thursday. I think he did the bacon in the oven, took the bacon out. We got home later on that night and the oven was still on. Like, oh snap, oven's still on. So I guess it's preheated for us to cook dinner. Yep, so
ready to go.
It all worked out. So the best story for me, I don't agree with Clover's assessment of the best story of the week. I think that he's making that up. No, he's telling the truth. But for me, and none of these happen to do with the show itself. That's the great thing about these things is you hang out and the stories develop just naturally. But the best story for me is I get to this place on Wednesday, our house that we're staying at. It's a double wide on a lake. Inside was really, really nice. Had a great little covered porch deck, whatever on the front. Had couches, a grill,
and the back, by the way. The back was pretty nice too. Yeah,
the back was nice too. But it had like fire. It had all this stuff. It was nice. Heaters, TVs. It was nice. So I pull up and I get there first. So I sent a text to Ron. I said, hey, what's the code to get into the door? And he sent me the code. So I walk in and I was like, wow, this is going to be nice for us. And so I had like a little styrofoam cup from the road and I wanted to kind of wash it out and get some ice and pour a new soda in there. So I went to the sink, turned the water on. No water. I'm like, okay. So I went to the restroom, turned the water on. No water. Turned the shower on. No water. So I said, you know what? It's a rental place. They probably shut the water off when no one's there. I get it. So I called Ron and I said, hey, where are you at? He says, oh, I'm a little ways. I'm not too far out. And I said, well, did they say anything in the email about turning the water on? He's like, what do you mean? And I said, there's no water. Is there something we need to do to turn the water on? He goes, I don't remember anything. And then one of the guys he's riding with, he goes, hey, look in this email, see if there's anything about the water. He says, no, there's nothing in the water. And I said, okay. All right, well, I'm just going to hang out till y'all get here. It's only like 15 minutes. I'm going to hang out till y'all get here and we'll go from there. So they show up. There's two of them, Ron, another guy, one of the Marsoc 3. And they come up and he's like, what do you mean? Like there's no water. And I was like there's like, I don't understand what you don't understand. There's no water. Like there's got to be a way to turn this water on. And so he looks through the emails and everything and like, no, there's nothing from this lady named Wendy. And so he's texting Wendy and he was like, hey, got to the house. There's no water. Is there something is there a valve somewhere that we need to turn on? And she's like, what do you mean there's no water? She's, I paid the bill. We're like, well, there's no water. And so she's trying to figure out what's going on. So Ron's talking to this girl, text back and forth. I'm at this point just saying, well, I can't do anything about it right this second. Another guy was outside, and all of a sudden we hear, hey, found the issue. Now, we heard water trickling and flowing, but it had been raining like Noah was building another ark. So we just assumed coming off the hill, there's got to be water.
Also on a lake with a creek.
On a lake with a creek. So there's plenty of water around. We didn't think anything about it. So we go outside in the back and he goes into this crawl space, opens this crawl space. And the main pipe from the road, that's the water company that attaches to the house. The clamp had come off and the pressure had blown that pipe off and it is flowing. So we ask her, and it's like, okay, you've got a problem. Where is the main valve shut off? And she's like, it's over by the street light by the road. So we were over there and she's like, I'm going to call one of the neighbors to come over. Maybe he can help. He's a contractor or whatever. Maybe he can help. We're like, cool. So we go and we get the valve turned off. We look at the gauge. 17,000 gallons have flowed through there. That's a lot of water. 17,000 gallons. We don't know how long it had been like that. We don't know, but 17,000 gallons have flowed through that meter. And so these two guys pull up in this car and he's like, hey guys, what's going on? I'm like, hey, what's going on? I was like, yeah, so it's the valves over here and all that. We start talking to him. He's like, wait, what are y'all talking about? We're like, you're not here to help fix the water problem. He goes, no, I'm here to give her an estimate on French drainage. I'm like, homie, French drainage ain't going to do nothing for what we've got going on right now. You're going to have to do something bigger. He's like, what's going on? So we told him he wasn't there to help fix it. He just happened to be stopping by to give her an estimate on French drainage. And so they're like, holy cow. So they're trying to figure all this out and all that. And about 10 minutes later, the pickup comes down from a neighbor. And he's like, what's going on? We're like, yeah, I talked to Wendy and here's what it is. Luckily, he had a clamp. So we had the water shut off. He put the hose back onto the pipes, clamped it down, made sure it was really tight. And then we turned the water back on. And we had water the rest of the time. But that was our first experience of this house was water. The river ran through the crawl space of that house. It was crazy. It was nuts. Set us up for a great weekend.
At least you didn't have a roommate. I mean,
yeah,
I did. Yeah. I had 4 of them.
You did. I don't know. Yeah, it was camping up at the tent. I froze. I was like, all right. The second night I didn't freeze as much.
Well, it got cold. I mean, it did get cold at night for sure.
So I don't know how much TJ can elaborate on this, but there's 2 things that I think we need to talk about before we leave. One is how, and if you're from South Carolina, my apologies ahead of time. If you want to go and unsubscribe on me,
in the world,
worst roads ever. And I'm not talking about road condition. I'm talking about also how they're laid out.
They know
Okay,
everything.
a
They
highway,
Billy Bob's Highway or something, whatever it was called. No, thank you.
Willie's Road.
Willie's, yeah.
Willie's Road.
So highways in South Carolina are literally county roads here in Texas.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Speed
And
limit like 45 if there's anything posted.
So I'm headed to South Carolina from I stopped off outside Atlanta, visited with Lionheart for a little bit and all that. And I see that on the interstate, there's a lot of congestion. They're talking about traffic being backed up on the radio, some other stuff. And I'm like, well, I got time. I'll just hit an alternate route. Bad idea. Because you literally
You got there a while later.
You're talking about little crappy 2-lane roads, if that. You're talking about turning literally there was a turn like 4 or 5 miles max, and you turn 4 or 5 miles and you turn 4. And I'm like, holy crap, is there not a single road that goes anywhere in this place? Like literally. And it told me to turn on Willie's Road. And I'm like, really? I'm turning on Willie's Road. So I turn on Willie's Road, and guess what?
Church Road or Jones Road or Airport Road. It's like they had to have landmarks, or people's names.
And lo and behold, I'm traveling down Willie's Road, and I meet a jacked up dually 4-wheel drive multicolor primer. Wait for it, El Camino, baby. And I thought, South Carolina, my kind of state.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'd
cool.
probably have to have one if I had the opportunity to have a jacked up dually. Camino, I'd definitely. And if you're gonna have a jacked up dually El Camino, you've got to go with a multicolored primer. That's just the way you got to go.
I will say this though. This is the second thing I want to bring up. Coming back, we had fun driving coming back. I'm talking about the whole way we did.
We had some Fast and Furious stuff going on.
We were drifting like crazy.
We had like team movements and driving and blocking.
Dude, I blew through Atlanta with a Dodge Challenger, a Mustang, and some type of a Nissan, sporty looking Nissan. Of course, everything's sporty looking nowadays at freaking 90, 95 mile an hour, man. And we were drifting in and out of traffic and blocking and the whole nine. Ghost meets up with me, on the other side of Atlanta somewhere, wasn't it? Or something. And,
we might have the world record for Atlanta.
Holy Moses! We meet up with a couple of Mercedes that knew what they were doing, and oh man, we were hammered down. And then, hey, once we split off outside Talladega,
120 at one point. I'm trying to say the very loud with my wife. I got to about 120 at one point.
Oh man, it was so much fun though. It was so much fun when you can get people like that on the road to just know by the way.
They were
by the way you're driving, they know, oh, okay, this guy's ready to go. Let's do it.
We had a couple people that try to join up for a little bit. They said, you know what?
Well, and I had a couple of people that thought I was trying in a Kia, right? Like I was trying to race. And I was like, dude, I'm not trying to race you. I want us to team up and take on this traffic.
And then that red pickup truck thought he was just going to be a badass. Yeah.
Well, he didn't understand it either. He just thought that, we were racing or something. And it's like, no, dude, that's not what we're doing. But made great time. That was a record trip coming back, man. I think I got back quicker than I got back from South Carolina, I think. Well, not quicker, but almost, barring a couple of things that happened, like nearly dying, not speed related. But coming back from there, it was pretty close to the time, and you're talking about 4 or 5 hours less distance. So coming back, I was like, I don't know, maybe 10 miles from the house, driving through this little community, and speed limit drops to 60, and there actually is a highway patrol that lives in that community, so you got to be careful in that community. So I slowed down to 60. As soon as it's 70, man, I pump it up 75, whatever the heck, set the cruise. First curb coming out of that little community, there's a tree. Around that curb, there's a tree literally, and this is like dusky dawn, sun is about to set. There's a tree literally across the road. So I'm locking up, I'm grabbing the emergency brake, and I realize, okay, the tree is down on the road from left to right. There's a lot of little branches to the right. I'm going to try to ride the edge of the ditch to the right, and maybe at worst, right, I catch little branches along my wife's car, I have to explain. And luckily, I was able to get it slowed down enough. I actually went through the ditch, and it wasn't dry enough. I went through the ditch and then back up on the road. Immediately stopped and called the sheriff's office and said, "You better get somebody out here," and then turned my car around and faced the headlights on the tree till they got there. But that's what slowed me down getting home there. But yeah, but somebody could have died that night. I guarantee you. That was crazy.
2 EDUs out there. Got the chance to meet him and Affordable Armory. First time to meet those two guys.
He was out there. He was out there earlier, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. When I left going home, and my GPS, my phone says "Welcome to Georgia," I almost stopped and pulled over the highway to kiss the highway.
I know,
but I thought, oh, this is so nice, because even like you could tell a difference when that state line, like even the interstate highways were better in Georgia than they were in South Carolina, and you're like, back to like normal roads, you know?
Yeah, South Carolina's terrible.
That's why at least South Carolina's gas is a little cheaper, because it takes more gas to get through that place.
Yeah, no kidding.
There was one, so we're coming back Thursday after the media day. And we're both in our cars, and he's following me, and we're rolling through these windy ass, like, I don't even call them one lane; they're like half a lane on each side. And we see this sign. There's a curve coming up, and you see this sign that says "hump." Well, neither one of our cars ride real high off the ground, so I was like, okay, I'm going to slow down, take this hump. I make that corner, and I am not bullshitting you. It looked like a freaking. I'm not kidding. If I'm lying, Clover, it looked like an Evel Knievel ramp. Like if you were on a dirt bike and you took that full speed, you could have jumped like a couple 100 feet easily.
It was probably
a bump. That is a freaking ramp.
Yeah,
and it leveled up top and then went down. I was like, "Holy cow, it's a ramp!"
Well,
how far did you guys go?
It didn't level much. Well, I didn't hit it that bad.
They would have taken out my entire bottom of the car if I tried to do that.
Yeah.
It literally, like,
I'm going to say
like that. I mean, it was a ramp.
Yeah, I'm going to say it was definitely steeper than a 45-degree angle.
Yes.
And I'm going to say it was 10 to 12 foot high easily.
At least 10 feet
And the
high.
leveled out part was not even the width of my car. My last car.
It was like a 1-lane bridge. It was a freaking ramp.
It was a ramp. It was literally a ramp.
It says hump. It doesn't even say like bridge. It just says hump. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's a hump.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God. Yeah.
Yep.
Keith out there says, what's going on, whatever that. And I'm not going to lie. Mandatory's right. He says, same as always, mean old men ranting at cameras. That's about right. So, yeah. I wouldn't call us mean, though. I just say that, we're ranting, but we're having fun. Before we get out of here, we are. Well, I mean, you're older than me, but I'm older than Clover, so
so I'm old.
So you're old.
Okay.
I'm middle aged. He's the young pup. So
whatever.
Before we get out of here, we've gone 2 hours. We've told a lot of stories and having a lot of fun. We have talked about some of the products and all that.
A little bit.
I haven't even talked. My favorite would have been the AP5 had I not shot it Tuesday. I'll tell you what I was really impressed with, and I sent an email today trying to see what happens. That Springfield Hellion, that little bullpup 5.56 is a little badass monster. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised with that, and you guys can say what you want to about Springfield. Don't care. That Hellion is cool as hell. They were right next to IWI, so I'm shooting the Hellion, and some of the guys shooting a Tavor. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool too. But yeah, that Hellion was pretty cool. Anything that disappointed you, TJ, as far as products go?
Not really. I mean, wasn't really disappointed by anything. I mean, everything functioned well. I mean, everything. Nothing really was like, oh crap, that's just hot garbage.
And considering the weather and the mud, keeping those things clean and all that must have been fun,
Oh yeah. Well, you got Toby's running around taking apart guns like there's no tomorrow, like dropping crap everywhere.
Oh my God, I would have choked him. I'm not gonna lie. So real quick, we love Toby, and Toby does a great job. But when he gives a review or something, he wants to make sure that everything's up to standards. Understand, it has rained like a foot of rain in the last couple of days. There's mud everywhere. He's at a booth, literally not just breaking it down to field strip it. He's taking springs and shit out of these guns, and there's no telling where the springs are going in the mud and all that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have.
I'll tell you shenanigans. Toby shenanigans
They
story.
put you on Toby duty after that, didn't they?
Yes, we're we should ban him. We were at the what was it? The Rock River Arms or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who was that booth? The guy with the fancy pants.
Rock Island
Arms. Rock Island.
Yeah.
So many. And he was looking at the Nada Glocks or whatever, the Glock copies or whatever. And
sure.
so he's first thing he does, takes it apart, all apart, like in a second. Like I turned my back, looked over, and he's looking through the slot. I'm like, come on, dude. I was failing at my job, I suppose, at just wrangling him around. Next thing you know, I'm over there. Alan's talking. We're talking to the guy. I look at Toby. He's doing something. All of a sudden, I see a spring just shoot out across behind it into a mud puddle. Oh. And it's like I just let Alan keep talking. I discreetly go over, grab it, hand it back to him. He wanted to see if his slide from his gun actually went on there, and then he got it stuck. So he had to take the back plate off. And when he did, the firing pin shot out. He put it all back together, and was like, "All right, we'll see you later."
What did the guys at Rock Island say? Were they just like, "What?"
Nothing. He didn't even notice. He was talking to Alan.
Wow.
So if the guns worked at Rock Island, then good to go, because one of the firing pins was in the mud.
So I had an interesting one, and I put a video out yesterday at EAA Gerson over at Talladega, and I was going to shoot the Gerson Regard, which is a beautiful little 92 clone.
Oh, I saw that.
It's beautiful. And so I'm sitting there and I'm shooting, go click, click. So Paul comes over and he grabs it. He puts another magazine in it. Click. And I'm like, it wasn't me, it was not operator. And no, what happened is I said, is there not a firing pin in there? And he goes, oh, there's a firing pin, but it got cut off. So when transport, they have to do certain things, the firing pins between shows and all that. And they hadn't gone back and fixed it. But I was like, look, that was not me. I had nothing to do with that. I did not break this gun. But yeah, it was fun.
Last one to touch it broke it.
Yeah, he says it helps not to bring a firing pin to a show. So yeah,
it was
funny. We turned it into a great fun thing. So that was the whole thing.
So I was a little disappointed with the Century Arms booth at the showcase, and not really anything to do with Century Arms. And that was part of the conversation I was talking about earlier. I had with the POMA people about trying to.
This is where the white rhino comes into play.
Yeah, yeah. Chase out there knows what I'm talking about. People that are there know what I'm talking about. TJ will, if we don't already, once we go off air. But
we'll tell you the story.
Yeah, there was definitely some shenanigans with some people that unfortunately get a lot of traffic.
You wonder about some people and how they get so much traffic on their stuff, and
yeah,
you see them in multiple places and you're like, that dude, or that whatever.
Right. Yep.
I've got one. Speaking of that Century Arms, you guys are going to want to check out the video that's dropping tomorrow. It's my Century Arms. They had a competition there at Century during the showcase, and they were giving away free guns. And it was, you take 4 shots with a Canic, 5 shots, and it's all on steel. You take 2 shots here, 2 shots here, the Canic. Then you transition to the AP5, take 5 shots, transition to the AK, 3 shots. Fastest time wins a gun.
You tore it up.
You
was throwing fire, baby.
And you got the best prize.
I did. So tomorrow, for those of you that aren't patrons or YouTube channel members, by the way, thank you all of you, including TJ. But all my channel members and patrons, hopefully you've seen it. If you're not, go check it out. Tomorrow it is releasing, and we'll just say we had some fun and no one knew what was going on. So yeah, that was fun. It was fun. But yeah, yeah, that was interesting to see that happen right in front of you, and you're just like, what the hell's going on? Like, this is weird. And we'll tell you what happened. We might have already told you, but we'll tell you off air.
I wish somebody would have had a camera on, and I mean, I don't know that I
should
would have
have
wanted.
because my camera is sitting right there.
I
And I
don't
should
know.
at least, if nothing else, turn the audio on. You know,
The people that follow those jack wagons, that's all I'm going to say, I don't
Yeah.
think are going to care. You know, that's the thing. And we
That's
had
their-
that
that's their
conversation.
shit, you know,
We had this conversation with companies, and they totally agreed that and Poma agreed, the people that were doing the event, that was
right?
there was no place for that at an event like
No,
this. Do that behind your house or whatever, but
to witness it at that type of event was
yeah. Professional
disappointing.
Outdoor Media Association event,
The
and
word
literally
professional
like
went out the window.
totally, yeah. Yep.
Anyways, yeah. All right, TJ. Anything else that you want to bring up about? Oh, the cool thing. I saw something that was really cool. So I was down there with Ron. This is Thursday at Media Day, and I was helping him shoot some footage for his channel and for his website and all of that. So they were doing some drills. He and Danny were doing some drills. So I was filming some of that stuff to get them footage. And Jeff walks up with Randall. And actually, when I met him that morning, Jeff was like, yeah, Randall, you're like one of the few channels that Randall actually watches, like me. And Randall's like, yeah, actually pretty informative. I'm like, don't tell people that, because I don't want them to think anything different. Because I'm trying not to be informative. I'm just trying to do my thing, whatever. Anyway, so later on that day, Jeff walks down there to the Riker Bay, where Ron was. And he's like, hey, you got a second? And I was like, yeah, what's up? Oh, okay. Oh, thanks. It was nice meeting you guys. Yeah, man. Awesome. We'll need to hook up some more. You get a hold of me. Let's do some collabs or something. Yeah, really nice meeting you though, for sure. $5 super chat. That's going to go, as like you said, all super chats go to sending care packages downrange. But Jeff walks over. He's like, you got anything going on for the next few minutes? And I was like, no, I don't think so. He's like, Randall has like shot a pistol once, and it was like 5 years ago, but he's never had any instruction. And he says, being his dad probably wouldn't be a good idea if I did. Can you just spend a few minutes helping him out? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And I said, but one of the best instructors in the country is like standing right there. And he's like, I was like, why don't you ask Ron? I bet you Ron would love to do that. And so he asked Ron, and I was like, yeah, come on. So we spent like 10 minutes with him going from like basics on how to draw and how to grip and how to shoot. And I'm looking over, and JJ's filming, and Jeff is filming this. And I look over at JJ, and I said, there aren't very many people, especially that young in this country, that can say their very first instruction with firearms is with Ron. That's a kind of a cool thing. And it was, you could see Jeff, like Jeff had a big old smile on his face, because, Randall had a smile on his face. And it was one of those things where it was like a cool moment that, like, this kid has no idea who's being instructed by, but it was one of those things where, like, it was awesome. It was awesome to watch. So that was one of the coolest things that happened, is watching a young man get his very first instruction on how to shoot a pistol. It was great. It was awesome. I loved watching that. That was really fun.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Jeff
cool.
got some good footage of that,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The other cool thing they put on that concert Friday night.
Yeah, see, we didn't go.
That thing was, that was awesome. It was good. It was laid back. There wasn't a lot of people there. They moved it indoors.
So we wanted Clover to get up on that stage. Clover's.
I know. The stage was free, but they moved it down towards the office. There's another like a dance hall kind of area, for functions and stuff like that. I moved them in there, and everybody just kind of hung out there. And
band, or was it like multiple bands, or just one band?
No, one band. They had they were playing rock songs with banjos and violins. It was really guitar, banjos, violins. I was like, "It's Clover at? He'd like this."
That's why I was so excited. Where was a jacked up El Camino? Did that happen to be in the parking lot? Maybe
I did not see it at the parking lot. But there's 4 or 5 of them in South Carolina. That's fine.
I'm disappointed, because I think banjos and violins are a mating call for an El Camino. So
it was. It was a really neat band, and we just got to hang out and chill and drink some beverages. So it was neat.
Said mating calls for El Caminos. That's one of the funniest things you've ever said, Clover. Yeah. What is your opinion of the Canon Rebel T7? I don't know what mine's a Canon Rebel. I don't know what model mine is. I'm not like the super like camera gearhead. That's probably more of Jeff's alley because Jeff's gone through a bunch of cameras.
Yeah.
The Canon that I have, my daughter has it right now, but I like it. I don't know what model it is, but Canon. That's what I have as a Canon.
I've got a Canon as well, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a Canon Rebel. I don't know which model Rebel, but
yeah, I have no idea what my model line is.
So
I haven't used it in a while. I just use cell phones now. Cell phones and a couple sometimes in GoPros for like target cams and stuff. But most is through.
oh, was that your glass? Never mind.
What's that?
I was watching. It was one of the other videos that I saw that the people haven't seen yet.
Oh,
so another cool story with Randall too is Jeff was kind of having him shadow and whatever, and so we were all hanging out. The second day, Friday, there wasn't all the cars there.
Oh yeah,
in the central area, but
except for one.
But the Humvee was there, right?
Yes,
and so we were all kind of hanging out around the Humvee, and people were passing by, and we were
looking at the saw. People were jumping up in the saw and taking pictures.
But Randall was there, and he was acting kind of bored or whatever. And Jeff was explaining to him. We were talking to him and explaining that it sounds like we're just shooting over here, shooting the bull and whatever, but it's like the communication and the talking and the conversations and the networking is all part of what makes things happen later on, right? Makes you aware of what's going on, makes you aware of which booths you need to check out, and other things like that. And trying to let him know that, to him, it seems like we're just over there shooting the breeze, but it's like there's a point to a lot of it. Not all of it. We do just be goofy and shoot the breeze a lot of times, but sometimes there is a point behind it as well. And was just trying to kind of get that across to him that it's not all shooting guns and filming. That a lot of these shows, again, was the networking aspect of stuff.
Absolutely. The relationship building. More importantly, like when we were all there, it was like, hey, because we were sitting there and saying, hey, if you guys checked out so-and-so, no. If you guys checked out so-and-so, no, you need to go do that. Or, there are some things that I saw that I knew that maybe TJ or Jeff would like and say, hey, did you check out this? And actually, Jeff and I were talking about the Hellion. Because at the time he hadn't shot the Hellion. I was like, you need to go shoot the Hellion. And so
just don't ask anybody about shotguns because they don't know nothing.
Nope. Absolutely. Did you get to shoot the Impulse there, Clover?
I did not shoot the Impulse. I shot the Impulse last year at the Shooting Sports Showcase, so I have, and I think maybe it shot show as well.
That straight pole is awesome.
It's sweet. I shot it very first time I shot it. 100 yards, and I grouped. It was less than a half-inch group. I mean, nice. First time right out of the box, sitting down with it. So
that he did shoot the stance, which is.
We shot the stance. Yeah. He shot a pistol. He shot a semi-auto pistol.
He did. He went to the Savage booth to shoot a semi-automatic pistol. What's wrong with this world?
He was probably going for the rifles, but then they got him with the pistol.
I didn't. Well, we could see.
You want to shoot this pistol? He's all camel out.
it was a situation where we were actually leaving. We were like the wind started picking up. You could see it getting dark, and I had checked the radar the night before. I kind of knew what was coming, and we were like, "Let's get the heck out of here," before we can't get the heck out of here, and. At some point on the way, Ghost is like, "Did you shoot the stance?" And I'm like, "I didn't. I think Tony, you and Jeff or Tony or Big Tony or somebody walked up at SHOT Show range day whenever Ghost was in the Savage booth." So I was talking to whoever it was, I can't remember now, and I never went in there to shoot it. Not that I necessarily cared, and I thought, okay, I'll go shoot it just to say I did. And that's what I said earlier. If I had to pick something that maybe was disappointing, I was sort of disappointed in the stance. But, my pinky massively hung off the grip, which, I mean, it's screwed up and going to hang off the grip anyway at this point. But so, I mean, it would require, and that's not uncommon for small frame handguns, but, it would require some type of a mag extension for me to be comfortable. I didn't particularly care for the grip, the stippling, and a lot of other things.
Grippy.
and I did not shoot it well at all. I don't know how far away that still was, but out of a mag, I think I might have hit the still 2 or 3 times. I would have to go back and check the video, which I'll put that video out. But like I said earlier, I would take, with my experience with the stance at this point, I would take the Sky striker fired over the stance at this point.
I think they're pretty even. I will say this: I like the ergonomics of the stance much better.
I don't.
I will say that the trigger, God, it's killing me to say this, that flat face trigger on the Sky might be a little bit better than that Savage. I'm just saying.
I think it's better. I think the snap on the recoil was better. I think
the recoil is better. The recoil is better on the Sky, and I just like the way the Sky feels better. That the stippling on that stance is. I mean, it's like,
I don't like it. It's weird.
I got loosen skin.
It looks like a football laces or something,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you like that.
I do like that.
Yeah. So.
I also have I'm not the biggest fan of Sky, so
yeah, that's why we all do content. That way, people can get different perspectives of stuff.
Absolutely. Real quick, Mandatory Carrie says, "Goes, can you give Fix a shout out? She's watching but can't chat on the phone. Fix Bayonets, my darling, you are wonderful. I'm glad that you're watching. Thank you for watching. You take care and make sure that Mandatory Carrie doesn't give you any shit. Thank you for always watching and supporting." So if I can do anything for you, Fix, let me know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, sweetheart. There you go. All right. Almost 2.5 hours. TJ, I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk about maybe some stuff that you're working on with Gear Report, maybe some reviews that might be coming out. Anything that we need to talk about for Gear Report, just let me know and go ahead.
All the reviews. Everything.
All the
getting reviewed.
And he is the vice president of Snacks and Beverages, so he knows the inside scoop.
I'm the director of Snacks and Beverages.
My bad.
Listen, I'm like as high as you can go with Snacks and Beverages. I don't know where I can go out of there, but I'm next, like right there. Now, I've got the Taurus TX22 competition coming out. That one's close. The ARX Delta Gen 2 is coming out. That one's next. And then I've got the Wolfpack Armory coming out. That little folder AR pistol.
Oh yeah.
That one's sexy. So that's getting, they're all getting close. The next couple of weeks I'll have all those out and then ready for the BRG9, and I'm trying to space them out since somebody else already published a BRG9. So I don't want to pile them all up there because it's like, who wants to watch 2 in a row?
Actually, what we were talking about this, Chloe and I were talking about this, is I think that the more BRG9 content that gets put out there, that more of them, all the videos will start getting better because there'll be more searchable terms, there'll be more traffic as a search term because it's brand new. No one's ever seen it. There's only like 4 videos out there,
Right. Well,
so
I mean, it's close anyways.
Throw it out. Yeah, I hear you. Are you guys doing a show Thursday?
Always. I don't know who we have, but we're doing a show Thursday.
All right. This Week in Gear Report presented by Maximum Defense. Thursday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. TJ and Jeff are always on. I've been on. I'm usually on there. Clover, that's a night that he has family obligations, so he usually isn't on there anymore. But yeah, thanks for coming on, buddy. It was great seeing you again. I've seen you twice or 3 times in the first 3 months of the year. It's crazy.
It's going to be a good year for you.
Let's see. Here's the thing: is with my job and all that, I won't see anybody till November in Tulsa. This is like the last thing I can do until then. So
yeah, I'm gonna try to get out there.
Yeah, cool. Me too. Clove, what about you? I know you got a bunch of stuff coming down the pipe in the next week or two. If you have any idea and want to learn anything about the showcase or the gathering, there's going to be a ton of footage coming out in the next couple of weeks. So check that out. But Clove, go ahead and tell you what you got coming up in podcasts and then on videos coming up.
So yeah, from showcase and the gathering, I have finally got everything edited for the showcase. There was 9 videos total there. Gonna start working tomorrow, bright and early tomorrow morning, and try to knock out I think there's 10 or maybe 11 videos from the gathering, and try to get those all out as soon as possible. Had 2 videos drop today. I don't remember what. I think the Sky maybe video and the Dead Air Suppressors video, I think,
Right.
dropped today. Now, I put a poll out earlier. And by the way, much like you, Patreon patrons and YouTube channel members, along with all the other cool stuff that we do, of course, already have access to every single one of the Shooting Sports Showcase, because as soon as those are edited and uploaded, those guys get early preview.
Relax. That's right.
But I put a poll out earlier today because I don't want to oversaturate, but I think it's really important that we get content from an event out as quickly as possible. So, I said, hey, is 2 a day too many? Because it's still, we're going to run into next week dropping 2 a day. Because I've got, good Lord, I don't even know at this point, 15 videos or some kind of crap that still need to be released. So 75% said, yeah, no problem. About 25 said it was a problem. So my apologies to the 25. You're in the minority, and mob rule or what have you. So we're going to be releasing 2 a day moving forward. Now, next week, the podcast will start back up. I can't remember the guest off the top of my head.
We got Lionheart coming in sometime.
I think Lionheart and maybe Diana Mueller are next week,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. But hopefully those will continue at least for a few more weeks as I get people scheduled from the showcase and hopefully scheduled from the showcase and the gathering. And there is Chase jumping in and stealing all the thunder, but that's fine.
He's gonna come in for the after chat. Probably he didn't come in earlier because it could have gone down some weird rabbit holes. Just saying. What's up, Chase? How you doing, bud?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Living the nightmare, man. Living the nightmare. All right, guys, we've been going for 2.5 hours. We're gonna go and do the back chat. I'm sorry, this is where the magic happens, but we've got to do some talking back here. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. We've got videos gonna be coming out every day. We've got tomorrow is our Century competition shoot. Got one from Wilder Tactical coming out with our cool little battle belt. Got stuff. Yesterday was EAA Grisson with Regard and the 1911 SC. Go check that out. We've got stuff coming out every day for probably I'm not going to go 2 a day. I'm just too lazy to work that hard. But let's be honest. But I will have one every day, probably for the next couple of weeks until we get everything out. And so you might get sick of it, but there are a lot of people that couldn't make it to the showcase or the gathering that kind of want to get that feels. Go check out Gear Report. Go check out Clover. Go check out. There's a lot of people covering both these shows or all these shows, which is great. But go check them out. We will thank you to everyone that did super chats for sending the care packages downrange. And I'm going to put it out there one more time. I'm not asking you guys to do anything more than you can, but if you've got an extra buck or so, some good friends of ours are part of the MARSOC 3 that have been falsely accused and falsely charged of taking a life in Iraq in 2019. They're MARSOC Marines, and defense for a 3-year trial is killing them. So Google the MARSOC 3. There's video and everything. Go check out Adrian with Review This Thing also. Yeah, thank you, Clover. But if you've got a chance, go check out that link. And it's a fundraiser. We're trying to get some funds for the MARSOC 3's legal defenses. But yeah, definitely, if you guys missed her, go check out Adrian from Review This Thing. She's doing great work. It was great meeting her last week. Really good stuff. So go check her out. And we'll see you next week. Semper Fi.